A group of high-level hunters brings the carcass of a massive beast back to the city, and a crowd instantly gathers around them just for the chance to touch a real monster at least once in their lives. But then one guy steps forward and does something nobody expects. He simply absorbs all of the monster's power, energy, and abilities. He takes the monster's essence and inserts it directly into his chest. An unimaginable pain tears through his body as the transformation begins. Every bone in his body breaks and reforms stronger than before. His muscles rapidly grow, and within just a few minutes, his strength and speed become absolutely monstrous. So how did he gain the ability to absorb the power of monsters? It is the middle of the night, and he has to survive against a ferocious, wolf-like beast with nothing but a worn-out dagger. The creature lunges, but Chumo ducks just in time to save his own skin. Thanks to the residual memories of the body's previous owner, he knows exactly what these things are. It is the year 2200 on a planet called Blue Star, and the world is on the brink of total collapse. Space rifts have opened across the globe, unleashing countless ferocious beasts that hunt humanity for sport. On the bright side, during the initial chaos, humans discovered they could absorb a mysterious energy called Yuan Qi. This energy grants superpowers, allowing them to fight back, and the superheroes of this world are known as warriors or martial practitioners. These warriors establish survival bases within the wasteland, constantly hunting the beasts. Chumo, having just been killed by zombies in his previous life, finds it ironic to wake up in yet another war zone. The wolf beast snaps at him again, prompting Chumo to jam his dagger right into its jaws to block the bite. In that split second, he realizes the creature possesses a lightning attribute, as the sparks threaten to disintegrate his flesh. Summoning every ounce of his strength, he overwhelms the beast and shoves it back. Luckily, a nearby tree crashes down on the monster, pinning it and creating a perfect opening. He rushes forward, slashing repeatedly until the wolf finally stops moving. He takes a breath, completely exhausted. His current weapon is nothing but an ordinary dull kitchen knife, and this body is utterly drained, lacking any innate talent for cultivation. The original Chumo must have been incredibly self-neglecting, and going into a forest with a pathetic knife like this isn't hunting. It's a suicide mission. Suddenly, the beast twitches as it begins waking back up. He braces himself and notices that a specific area on the beast's underbelly is not covered in fur and isn't emitting electricity, meaning it must be its vital point. He decides to risk everything on a strike to that spot, but before he can even move, someone else finishes the beast off. Enter Chen Shimi. She is Chumo's childhood friend and technically his fiancée. When they were kids, their families planned to get them engaged because they were inseparable. But tragedy struck before that could happen when both sets of parents died during a joint hunting expedition. Unlike Chumo, Shimi awakened her powers early and always tries to protect him. The original Chumo, driven by a mix of toxic pride and anger, always took her for granted and pushed her away, even blaming her by claiming it was her parents' fault for dragging his parents into that fatal expedition. Looking at her now, the reincarnated hero realizes just how ungrateful the original owner of this body truly was. Shimi looks like she is on the verge of fainting, having just rushed over here straight from her own hunting mission. She is already injured, yet she ran directly into danger the moment she spotted Chumo in trouble. When he asks if she is okay, Shimi looks surprised, since it has been a long time since he spoke to her without hostility. She forces herself up, assuring him she is fine, but there is no time to chat. This creature is a violet lightning ferret, and whenever they die, they emit a scent that allows the rest of their pack to track them down and seek revenge. Shimi prepares to fight the incoming pack, urging Chumo to run. Right on cue, the growls echo through the trees, and a swarm of ferrets emerges from the shadows, ready to pounce. She yells at him to leave and raises her fist to fight. She punches several beasts down, but the strain is too much, causing Zimi to cough up blood and get thrown backward. Chumo catches her before she hits the ground, only to realize she has completely fainted. The pack begins to circle them as dread washes over him. Shimi is unconscious, and he stands absolutely no chance against this many beasts. More than anything, he refuses to drag an innocent person down to death with him, just like what happened in his past life. He desperately needs a way to survive, because he didn't get a second chance at life just to die immediately. As his hand rests on the dead ferret, a strange glow emanates from his palm, and the system announcement states that the hoarding system has been activated. Chumo has no idea what a hoarding system is, but a notification immediately pops up asking if he would like to absorb the violet lightning ferret. With no other options, our boy takes the gamble and decides to absorb it. The system strips the beast's traits, granting Chumo an innate, secondary lightning attribute talent. When the system asks if he would like to integrate the talent, he immediately gives an affirmative answer. Instantly, purple lightning surges through his veins. The agonizing pain makes him scream, but the sheer force of the erupting electricity actually blows back the surrounding beasts. Now equipped with cultivation talent stolen directly from the monster, Chumo is ready for a rematch. He channels the lightning into his worn blade, and the electricity sharpens the edge to a razor point. He moves, and one by one he begins slashing through the pack. The power surging through his body completely numbs his pain, making him incredibly agile, and he can now clearly track the movements of the beasts. With his lightning-infused dagger, he effortlessly bypasses their fur and slices straight through their vital points, severing limbs without mercy. He doesn't know the exact tier or strength of his new talent, but relief washes over him as the last beast falls dead. As if answering his unspoken question, the system interface blinks to life to inform him of his new status. It shows that his basic strength sits at 1,527, but with the help of lightning attribute adding another 3,089 points, his total power skyrockets. Chumo's eyes widen in sheer disbelief as he realizes that with these numbers combined, his combat power already matches the mid-level martial disciple stage. The lightning attribute doesn't just give him a massive speed boost, it offers devastating offensive capabilities, proving that he didn't just survive, he just hit the absolute jackpot of talent. Chumo stares at the interface, realizing that his newly acquired basic strength of over 1,500 points is practically doubled thanks to his lightning attribute. Testing his limbs, he feels a surge of power rushing through his veins, making him feel significantly stronger than he ever did in his past life. Right on cue, a new notification flashes across his vision, asking if he wants to absorb the fallen ferocious beast. This confirms his theory. His system can harvest power from the corpses. He immediately initiates the process, and as the energy flows into him, he also acquires the beast's blood essence. In this world, blood essence acts as the condensed heart of a fierce beast, serving as a powerful catalyst to speed up body refining. Even though these specific ferrets are low-grade, the resource is exactly what his newly awakened body needs to build a solid foundation. However, a sudden prompt from the system halts his excitement, informing him that he has already exhausted his absorption limit for the time being. The system restricts him to absorbing only one target per month. On the bright side, the description notes that he isn't limited to just elemental powers. He can also absorb a target's martial arts talent or unique physical constitution. Reading this, Chumo decides he will have to choose his target next month with extreme caution, since wasting a slot on low-level corpses isn't optimal for long-term growth. For now, he pushes the thoughts aside and scoops the unconscious Jimmy into his arms. He prepares to head back to the survival base, making sure to drag the beast carcasses along too, since their meat is highly nutritious and valuable. After a while, they reach their home. Shimi is trapped in the middle of a nightmare. In her dream, she desperately tries to save her fiancé, but he rejects her help out of spite, and ultimately gets slaughtered by the ferocious beasts. Gasping for air, her eyes snap open, and the first thing she sees is Chumo sitting right in front of her. Before she can panic, he casually tells her that the soup will be ready shortly, and that they can eat soon. A little while later, he starts setting the table. Watching him move around, Shimi can hardly believe her eyes, unable to comprehend that this is the same guy who cooked a meal and carried her all the way back from the dangerous woods. Chumo simply brushes off her confused questions, asking who else would do it if not him, and urges her to start eating. They sit down, but the silence quickly becomes too awkward for comfort. Trying to break the ice with some small talk, Chumo lies and says that a passing exploration team was the one who actually saved them from the pack. Shimi stays silent, ignoring the excuse entirely. Finally finishing his food, he stands up and asks her to handle the dishes since the tension is making him uncomfortable. Before walking out, he reminds her to eat properly because the beast meat is packed with nutrients that will help heal her injuries. His sudden display of genuine concern leaves her completely stunned. For a second, Zimi genuinely wonders if she is still dreaming, and if she is, she decides she never wants to wake up. Meanwhile, Chumo retreats into his own room and reflects on the situation. The relationship between him and his fiancée is clearly at a freezing point, mostly because the old Chumo had absolutely no idea how to behave around her, and her defensive attitude didn't help either. Shaking his head, he decides to focus entirely on his own survival in this apocalyptic wasteland, knowing he can only truly rely on his own strength. To make sure he stays ahead of the game, the most important step right now is to increase his combat power. He then immediately begins to refine the ferocious beast blood essence circulating inside his body. The moment the refining process kicks in, a wave of pure agony washes over him, making him grit his teeth against the burning sensation. After what feels like an eternity, the intense pain finally begins to dissipate, and he manages to regain full control over his body. Recognizing that growth in this world requires a painful price, he clears his mind and concentrates entirely on his training, determined to completely refine the essence and push his boundaries even further. A month passes by in a flash, and Chumo spends almost every waking moment isolated in training, only breaking his solitude when it is absolutely necessary. Today marks yet another grueling session as he steps into his private training room to test his progress. He drops into a solid stance, and instantly, arcs of purple lightning begin to crackle and dance across his skin. Focusing entirely on precise control, he unleashes a lightning-fast strike toward a nearby vase. The blow is executed with such perfect finesse that the porcelain remains completely untouched, yet the sheer shockwave shears the petals cleanly off the flowers resting inside. While the attack proves his control over his elemental power is improving rapidly, he knows he still needs a lot more practice to master it completely. During this past month of intense isolation, he also manages to completely refine the ferret's blood essence, and he calls up his system interface to check the final results. The screen blinks to life, revealing that his basic strength has climbed to 2,134, and when combined with his thunder attribute, his total combat power now sits at an impressive 4,198 points. His baseline strength alone shot up by more than 600 points, a direct result of his meridians expanding all across his body to handle the larger energy flow, while the beast essence itself provided a solid, permanent boost of 400 points to his foundation. Despite the hard work paying off, Chumo knows there is absolutely no time to slack off or celebrate. The reality of this world is harsh, and his true competition consists of the elite geniuses who possess high-grade cultivation talents above the second order, all of whom boast ridiculous growth rates. If he wants to keep up and survive, he needs a massive, steady supply of high-quality, ferocious beast blood essence. It is the only way he can fast-track his physical conditioning and officially force his way into the true martial practitioner realm within the next half a year. While our hero is busy pushing his limits, his fiancée is not slacking off either, training ferociously in front of a combat tester machine. Her fist slams into the tester, but the screen flashes a score of 8,364 points, a result that leaves her completely unsatisfied. With the high-stakes academy hunting trial only a month away, the clock is ticking. Her target for the trial is the two-headed python, a terrifying grade 2 intermediate ferocious beast, and to successfully take it down, she needs to become a fully fledged martial artist with a combat strength of at least 10,000 points. Thinking back to her recurring nightmare where she loses Chumo forever, her resolve hardens, and she increases the intensity of her punches, desperate to force her way into the martial realm. Addressing her fiancé in her thoughts, she vows to bring back the heart of that two-headed python for him, believing it is the key to finally awakening his cultivation talent. Meanwhile, the said fiancé navigates the crowded commercial area of the Luoyang security base, searching the markets for a suitable ferocious beast to absorb. Unfortunately, almost every single item on display belongs to low-grade, grade 1 beasts with meager power attributes. To truly upgrade his physique or acquire a superior talent, he knows he needs a carcass from at least a grade 2 beast. Before he can search any further, a group of cultivators blocks his path, recognizing him as the infamous student who failed to awaken any talent back at the academy. Their leader, Zhou Qi, steps forward to taunt him, mocking him for being a weakling with absolutely no martial talent. Unlike Chumo, Zhou Qi is considered a local genius, having already reached the martial apprentice stage with a combat strength of 6,000 points. Zhou Qi's lackeys join in, loudly whispering that Chumo should be ashamed for hiding behind Shimi and that he should just leave her for their leader. Zhou Qi scoffs, asking what a talentless loser is even doing in a market for beast materials, mockingly wondering if Chumo actually intends to participate in the upcoming hunt. Stepping closer, this arrogant villain leans in and whispers darkly into his ear, boasting that he will claim Shimi for himself once the hunt is over, causing Chumo's expression to instantly darken with rage. Seeing the fury in his eyes, the arrogant prick pushes him, laughing at how a guy who hides behind a woman suddenly thinks he has the guts to get angry. Before walking away, he throws down a smug challenge, daring Chumo to actually show up at the trial next month. Watching his nemesis walk away, our boy realizes that Zhou Qi isn't just trying to humiliate him. The guy actively intends to kill him during the trial. Knowing he needs to strike first, Chumo shifts his strategy, realizing a grade 2 beast won't give him the massive power leap he needs to crush this threat. He needs to find a grade 3 beast. Finding such a rare creature in the regular market proves impossible, as every stall only carries low-level monsters. Suddenly, a massive commotion erupts near the entrance as the crowd begins cheering for a renowned mercenary group called the Wind Chasers, who have just returned from the wasteland. They are wheeling in the massive corpse of a powerful grade 3 beast known as an Earth Dragon. The crowd gapes in absolute awe and terror at the sight. This specific monster had been ravaging the northern side of the base, slaughtering numerous martial practitioners and even taking the lives of master martial artists. The aura radiating from the mercenary team is incredibly oppressive, and Chumo can feel the raw pressure from where he stands, estimating that the team's captain must be at least a mid-stage martial master. As one of the mercenaries begins shouting to the crowd, announcing that they are recruiting new members who are at least late-stage martial artists or higher, Chumo ignores the speech entirely, his eyes locked onto the giant lizard. Right on cue, his system interface blinks to life, identifying the Earth Dragon as a valid target and asking if he wants to absorb it. A confident grin breaks across Chumo's face as he realizes his jackpot target is resting right in front of him. While the surrounding citizens crowd around the carcass, eager to touch an Earth Dragon for the first time in their lives, Chumo spots his perfect opening. Blending in with the excited crowd, he steps forward under the pretense of wanting to feel the scales of the legendary beast. extending his hand to secretly extract the powerful beast essence. With the hoarding process proving to be a massive success, our guy successfully acquires the intermediate cultivation physique from the Earth Dragon. The moment he returns to the safety of his private training room, he wastes no time and immediately initiates the fusion process, eager to see just how much this upgrade will push his limits. However, as soon as the absorption begins, he is hit with a wave of pure agony. The fusion requires his entire skeletal structure to be broken down and rebuilt from scratch, causing him to shout in pain as his bones shatter internally. Just when the torment becomes unbearable, a soothing warmth spreads from his heart, flowing through his fractured bones and expanding his meridian points to begin the repair process. Each bone is systematically restructured to be denser and stronger than before, repeating the painful cycle of destruction and rebirth until the physical transformation is finally complete. Breathing heavily, Chumo stands up to inspect his modified body, testing his movement only to find that he feels completely weightless. Eager to gauge his new power, he approaches the room's combat tester and throws a casual punch, but the sheer force of the impact completely shatters the machine. The intermediate cultivation physique changes everything, granting him a permanent passive multiplier that yields tenfold the results from his standard training compared to what he used to gain. Calling up his system interface, he sees that his basic strength has skyrocketed to 2,659 points, and when combined with his lightning attribute, his total combat power now sits at a massive 5,270 points. His cultivation speed is reaching ridiculous levels. At this blistering rate of growth, he feels completely confident that he will achieve the strength of a late-stage martial apprentice by the end of the month. As he closes the screen, his gaze darkens with cold determination. When the upcoming Academy hunting competition finally arrives, he will be the one doing the hunting, and Zhou Qi will find out exactly what it feels like to go from the predator to the prey. Our boy studies at the Luoyang First Academy, which is the top martial arts academy in the Luoyang base, and boasts the most powerful faculty around. Students with exceptional talent become true warriors at this institution, but if they fail the fitness and talent tests, they get transferred to the lowest-ranked 5th Academy. To evaluate everyone's performance and reveal their true potential, the Academy organizes the hunting trial. Today is finally the day of the trial. However, everyone is currently busy worshipping Zhou Qi, because this genius managed to gain 600 points in just a single month, a ridiculous feat, and they are all hoping he will get promoted to the elite class. The moment our boy enters the picture, different voices immediately start taunting him, whispering about how he has no talent, how he should already be in the 5th Academy, and how he just hides behind the hard work of his fiancée. Even Zhou Qi taunts him, mocking that he probably only showed up to watch Simi get chummy with a real genius. However, the arriving teacher interrupts the trash talk. Everyone is required to step forward and sign their student numbers on the registration form. After that, they are ordered to get onto the bus, where the remaining details of the trial will be explained. Once everyone is settled on the vehicle, the teacher informs them that their destination is the wilderness outside the safety base. The students are completely shocked to hear this, knowing that this territory is usually only open to official warriors, and even those elites find it hard to survive out there. But the teacher reassures them, explaining that the Earth Dragon causing trouble out there was recently hunted down by the Wind Chasers. Following that major kill, the base cleared the area and eliminated all level 2 beasts, creating a safe hunting zone spanning 20 miles. It makes for a perfect training ground, as the area now only contains level 1 beasts. Besides, the teachers are also escorting them along the perimeter, though anyone who is too afraid is free to back out right now. Once the murmuring settles, the teacher explains that the hunting trial uses a point calculator system, rewarding points based on the strength and level of the beasts they kill. The rewards for the top 3 performers are massive. Third place gets a bottle of level 2 ferocious beast blood essence. Second place gets 2 bottles of the exact same grade. First place walks away with 3 bottles of essence alongside a bronze-level martial technique. Everyone gapes at the generosity of the rewards, but they already assume that Zhou Qi will easily secure the first-place position. Before they disembark, the teacher hands out distress tokens, which the students can crush in times of danger to signal the nearby teachers for a rescue. However, the teacher warns them not to slack off just because they have a safety net. They will have a total of 5 days to hunt before heading back. Zhou Qi is incredibly confident that he will claim the first-place prize. When one of his minion lackeys asks if they can tag along with him, Zhou Qi just tells him to get lost. Meanwhile, our hero knows exactly what Zhou Qi is planning. The guy wants to kill him during the chaos to have Shimi all to himself, especially since he has the backing of the prominent Zhou clan within the base. However, Chumo already has his own plan to finish off this arrogant freak first. He knows Zhou Qi will definitely venture deeper into the wilderness to harvest more points, and he intends to take full advantage of that exact situation. After a short drive, they finally reach the edge of the wilderness. They step down from the vehicle and the teacher gives the signal for the trial to begin. Zhou Qi and his crew immediately rush ahead into the brush. Watching them go, the teachers discuss how promising Zhou Qi is, especially with the heavy resources of his family backing him up. Then, they notice our boy moving forward alone. The teacher warns him, pointing out that as a person without any awakened talent, he has a 1% chance of surviving even against a grade 1 beast. Chumo simply thanks them for their genuine concern and assures them that he is perfectly fine taking that 1% chance. Many martial artists venture into the wilderness to seek out spiritual energy, a resource that grants humans superpowers but also causes various beasts to undergo savage mutations. Despite the immense danger, the opportunities are endless, as top-tier groups like the Wind Chasers regularly bring back fortune and resources from these untamed zones. Chumo scans the immediate area for any sign of Zhou Qi, but his nemesis is nowhere to be found, so he decides to hunt a few beasts first to refine his combat power. While he is scouting for a target, a shadow looms behind him, preparing to launch a surprise attack. Thanks to his heightened, razor-sharp senses, our boy leaps clear just in time to save himself. The attacker is an iron spine hound, a level 1 inferior beast known for high attack power and blistering speed, but terrible endurance. The conventional hunting strategy taught at the academy is to play defensively, wearing the creature down over time. Chumo, however, bypasses all of that. Channeling his lightning attribute, he completely one-shots the beast in a flash of purple electricity. Even though the kill is clean, he refuses to lower his standards by using his monthly hoarding slot on such a low-level creature, especially since he already targets much higher-tier traits. Instead, he decides to simply harvest the blood essence, using the standard extraction techniques taught at school. As he works on the carcass, the scent of blood draws in multiple monsters, their eyes glowing in the shadows as they prepare an ambush. But Chumo is already waiting for them, his knife poised with flawless timing. He begins slashing through the incoming wave, using the combat to sharpen his real-world instincts while reinforcing his blade with the lightning effect. The hours blur together as he hunts. By the time dusk settles over the wilderness, he successfully kills 7 beasts and collects blood essence from 5 of them, which is more than enough for a day's work. Finding a secure spot to take a break, Chumo decides to consume one of the harvested blood essence portions right away. The effect is truly incredible, pulsing through his body and pushing his physical limits just like the previous enhancements, making him wish he could chug these down constantly instead of waiting out the mandatory 3-day digestion interval. Right on cue, a desperate shout for help echoes through the trees. A panicked student runs toward him, pleading for assistance against a rampaging giant bear. Looking at the massive beast, Chumo instantly recalls his academy lectures. Wherever a level 1 superior bear roams, a hive of spirit bee nectar is almost always nearby. This rare nectar is exactly what he needs, as it has the unique property of accelerating the body's digestion rate, allowing a cultivator to bypass the standard waiting intervals between drinking fierce beast blood. The running student begs him not to crush his distress token, suggesting that they can team up to kill the bear and split the nectar evenly. Chumo merely tightens his grip on his dagger, his mind already made up. He has absolutely no intention of sharing. That nectar is going to be entirely his. The giant bear lunges forward, delivering a brutal blow that throws the other student completely away. The sight of his classmate being battered infuriates him, and he leaps into the fray, determined to bring the monster down. However, the initial clash makes him realize that the bear's raw physical strength is in a completely different league. Knowing a direct head-on struggle is suicide, Chumo adapts instantly, executing quick, calculated strikes while remaining highly cautious as he waits for a clean opening toward the beast's head or vital organs. Finding a momentary gap, he drives his dagger deep into the bear's forearm, causing the beast to roar in agony. But instead of incapacitating the monster, the sudden electric shock and stabbing pain only push the bear into a berserk state. The crazed animal unleashes a savage counterattack, and the sheer velocity of the swing catches Chumo off guard, slamming him hard against the dirt. In its berserk state, the bear's speed and offensive power effectively double, completely dwarfing Chumo's current active baseline. The massive beast rears up, preparing to stomp him into the ground. His stamina is draining rapidly, making it nearly impossible to keep up with the monster's explosive movements. Summoning every remaining ounce of energy, he barely manages to roll out of the way of the descending paw, though the sheer force of the near-miss blast still throws him several feet away. Refusing to back down, our guy relies on his survival instincts and decides to craft a desperate opening. The moment the bear lunges again, he slices directly across its eyes, temporarily blinding the creature with a spray of blood and sparks. With the beast's vision compromised, he needs to restrict its movement immediately. He leaps onto the thrashing monster, channeling all of his power into a series of heavy strikes against its legs. But as he drives the blade home, the bear swings blindly in a frenzy, connecting with a heavy blow that knocks the absolute wind out of Chumo's lungs. Lying on the ground, he wonders if he has finally hit the absolute limit of his current physique. But the thought of dying here snaps him back to reality. He didn't get a second chance at life just to fold in the dirt. Suddenly, a strange surge of warmth erupts within his core. He realizes it is the residual power of the beast blood essence he consumed earlier, Without even relying on the hoarding system's active slot, his body is naturally digesting the essence under extreme stress, giving his attributes a sudden, massive boost. This is his chance to turn the tables. The blind bear charges one last time, but Chumo leaps into the air, dodging the impact with ease. Infusing every drop of his lightning power into his fist, he delivers a devastating, thunderous punch straight to the beast's weak spot, finally collapsing the massive creature. Chumo drops to one knee, huffing and completely exhausted. A level 1 superior ferocious beast is considered a top-tier threat for a reason. Its strikes are lethal, and if it weren't for that sudden burst of blood essence absorption saving him at the last second, he would be done for. Catching his breath, his mind starts analyzing the battle, realizing that to overcome his current limitations, he desperately needs a wind element attribute. Combining lightning with wind would elevate his speed and combat power to an entirely new realm. Suddenly, a sinister aura washes over the clearing. Before Chumo can even stand up, a figure blurs through the trees at a ridiculous speed. It is Jochi, arriving on the scene so fast that Chumo instantly recognizes the tells of a wind attribute user. The arrogant genius steps into the clearing, looking at the dead bear with a smug, mocking sneer. Jochi immediately assumes that the beast was already severely injured by the previous students before Chumo ever arrived, concluding that our hero simply stole the kill from a dying classmate to take all the credit. Having wanted an excuse to eliminate Chumo anyway, Jochi smiles darkly, deciding he will take the giant bear's carcass, the hidden nectar, and his ultimate revenge all in one go. Jochi already maps out the exact story he will spin for the teachers, planning to claim that Chumo brutally murdered his own classmates just to steal credit for the rampaging giant bear. In the local genius's version of events, he simply caught the talentless loser red-handed and executed him on the spot. He sneers at our boy, mocking that he will at least leave everyone with a highly believable story after he is gone. The villain emphasizes that he does not actually hold a deep personal grudge against his rival. It is simply a matter of him being Shimi's fiancé, which serves as both a blessing and a fatal curse for our protagonist. Hearing this, the transmigrated hero startles his opponent by calmly agreeing that the arrogant young master is absolutely right. The wealthy clan heir completely misinterprets the response, assuming that the weakling is finally breaking down and preparing to beg for mercy, but the hidden powerhouse instantly corrects him, stating that because the villain wants to kill him over his fiancée, it means he needs to eliminate the threat first. With that, our boy lunges forward with his dagger, but his agile foe glides out of the way. The attacker is momentarily stunned to discover that the school's famous failure possesses the thunder attribute, realizing our boy has been faking his weakness all along. However, the villain's wind attribute keeps him entirely untouched as he utilizes his full speed to blur through the air, landing gracefully on a nearby tree branch. From his high vantage point, the elite student unleashes a ranged strike at our hero, who cannot dodge the incoming blast in time and resorts to blocking it with his thunder-infused dagger. Seeing that the main character's sheer elemental output can pierce straight through his wind blade, the fast-moving attacker rapidly shifts his position, realizing he cannot afford to take these attacks head-on. Resting against the tree bark, the young master grows increasingly agitated, utterly unable to comprehend how the school loser is suddenly operating at the late-stage martial apprentice level when he never showed an ounce of innate talent. Stepping forward through the brush, Chumo coolly remarks that appearances can be deceiving before preparing his next move. This fight is about to become the ultimate test of his precise control over the thunder attribute, the very skill the reincarnated warrior spent the entire past month practicing in isolation. Our hero unleashes a rapid succession of lightning strikes, forcing his opponent to internally admit that our boy's elemental control easily surpasses a standard late-stage martial apprentice. Even so, with the absolute evasion provided by his wind trait, the agile genius maneuvers around each bolt, rendering himself effectively untouchable. A split second later, the villain blurs directly behind our hero, shouting that it is over as his next strike connects, slicing across the protagonist's face. The villain follows up by relentlessly pressing his advantage, raining down wind blades from all angles. Chumo finds himself in a highly difficult situation. No matter how devastating his destructive output is, it remains entirely useless if it cannot actually connect with his target. The wind user capitalizes on his massive speed advantage, knowing that even minor, superficial injuries will eventually wear our boy down to a state of exhaustion. Furthermore, the enemy's reaction time is incredibly high, which only makes our hero more determined to get his hands on that exact wind attribute. He forces himself to remain calm, analytically breaking down his opponent's patterns. Since his enemy's singular focus is to deliver a lethal blow, his final landing point must always close the distance right next to him, meaning all the clever fighter needs to do is accurately predict the trajectory. He calculates that the villain's last appearance occurred at the 9 o'clock direction, with an attack frequency hitting every 4 to 6 seconds. Mapping out the logical movement path, our boy glances directly behind him to the precise spot where the arrogant heir is about to manifest, fully charging a localized thunder arrow. The very next moment, the target blurs into existence, only to find the loaded thunder arrow firing directly into his path. The trap is completely unpredictable, leaving the villain zero time to dodge. The strike hits its target dead on, sending the young master crashing down as he gasps in absolute shock, wondering how it is humanly possible for a piece of trash to best him. As our victorious hero steps forward to finish the job, a wave of terror washes over the fallen bully. He desperately tries to negotiate, offering the protagonist anything he wants in exchange for his life. When that fails, the desperate villain attempts to threaten him, frantically reminding our boy that his father is a powerful, late-stage martial practitioner who will relentlessly hunt him down. Our hero ignores the warnings entirely, stepping down heavily on his rival. As the defeated genius opens his mouth to beg one last time, our boy darkly tells him to shut up, driving his blade down and permanently silencing his nemesis. Right on cue, his system interface blinks to life, recognizing the fallen villain as a valid target and asking if he would like to initiate the hoarding process. Without a moment's hesitation, Chumo claims the wind attribute as his own. Finally securing the wind attribute he desperately wants, our hero decides to test out his new power. He cultivates the newly acquired element for a short moment, allowing the energy to settle before opening his eyes and taking his first step. The transformation is staggering. Moving with the assistance of the wind, his speed increases threefold, making him feel as though his entire body has literally turned into a gust of air. Both his agility and body control reach a completely different league. Moving like a ghost from one tree to another, he blurs through the forest before landing gracefully right in front of his enemy's corpse. A greedy grin breaks across his face. Having already harvested the elemental talent, the clever survivor decides to see what else he can squeeze out of his fallen enemy's remains. To his absolute awe, the system interface reveals a bronze-level martial skill called the Wind-Piercing Blade, the exact signature move his opponent used against him moments ago. This confirms that the hoarding system doesn't just strip away talent and physical constitutions, it can literally steal and instantly teach him the target's mastered techniques. He immediately absorbs the skill, instantly uploading the knowledge into his muscle memory. He learns that the technique contains 3 distinct levels of mastery. At the first level, a cultivator can coat their weapon in a sharp layer of blade light, while the peak third level allows a warrior to manifest a solid, devastating projection of energy. The main character realizes that his dead nemesis had only managed to reach the first level, as the stolen blade only glows slightly during the visualization. Yet, even at the introductory level, the destructive power is immense. Once he pushes the technique to the third level, he will be able to extend his lethal range to a whopping 30 meters, which is an incredible advantage for close-quarters combat. Right on cue, another system notification pops up, informing him that the deceased heir possessed a hidden special item and asking if he wants to collect it. Obviously, our boy is not about to deny a free jackpot. When the system extracts the item, our boy is fascinated to find an intricate treasure map. Unrolling the parchment to examine its secrets, he is completely stunned by what he finds. It is a guide leading directly to an earth dragon nest, the resting place of a legendary 10,000-year spirit essence. This kind of heavenly resource is capable of permanently evolving a person's natural talent and physique. Knowing he cannot afford to let a miraculous treasure like this slip through his fingers, he immediately resolves to hunt his way into the dragon's den. However, he reminds himself to remain cautious. The wealthy Zhou clan backs the fallen young master, and if anyone discovers that our hero is the murderer, the consequences will be fatal. His immediate plan requires absolute secrecy. Dispose of the corpse, locate the Yuanling bee nectar, and find a secure place to rest for the night. By nightfall, our hero reaches a place where the Yuanling bee nectar is hidden. He carefully harvests the honey, though he feels a pang of disappointment when the massive hive only yields half a canteen of the precious liquid. Sitting back to count his total loot for the day, he notes an impressive haul of 21 bottles of beast blood essence, gathered from his own kills and the fallen students he came across. One detail still bothers him, though. He couldn't understand why Zhou Qi didn't have a single bottle of resources inside his standard student bag, just a basic knife and an odd, small pouch made of beast skin. Examining the strange pouch, he recalls that Zhou Qi hadn't even used this particular knife during their deathmatch. Intrigued, our hero channels a burst of his own yuanqi into the beast skin bag to see what happens. The moment his energy interfaces with the material, the tiny pouch expands into a localized dimensional pocket. It is a spatial storage bag, an incredibly expensive luxury item that a normal person couldn't afford in a lifetime. Our boy realizes he just hit the absolute motherlode. Packed within the space is a massive hoard of yuan stones, totaling at least 600 lower-grade pieces, alongside 12 additional portions of fierce beast blood essence, 3 of which belong to high-tier Grade 2 beasts. In this apocalyptic world, yuan stones are the pure, crystallized essence of environmental nourishment. warriors can directly absorb their energy to cultivate, and they also serve as the primary currency among high-level martial practitioners. Our hero quickly transfers everything into the spatial pouch, deciding to keep the bag hidden since carrying such an expensive item would instantly draw unwanted suspicion. With his inventory secure, our guy takes a sip of the newly harvested bee nectar to test its rumored effects. The experience is completely different from consuming raw beast blood. Instead of a violent, burning sensation of blood, a soothing, warm current flows gently through his core, immediately easing his fatigue and healing the tiny, superficial wounds on his face. He closes his eyes to cultivate, absorbing the fluid and opening them a short while later feeling completely refreshed. The results surpass his wildest expectations. With just a single mouthful of the nectar, his body can digest and fully process beast blood essence in a matter of hours, a task that normally requires a strict 3-day waiting interval. The protagonist grips the bottle tightly, wishing he had an endless supply of this nectar so he could chug beast blood continuously and skyrocket his attributes without restriction. Realizing he is now fully rested, the ambitious hero decides to consume more blood essence right away. The dawn is fast approaching, and he needs to explore the Earth Dragon Nest the moment the sun rises. To survive whatever traps are waiting for him inside that den, he needs to become as powerful as humanly possible before the night ends. With the help of his system, Chumo reaches the exact location where the Earth Dragon Nest should be. Landing on the spot, he realizes the entire area is thoroughly investigated and cleaned up, hidden so well that an average person wouldn't stand a chance of finding a treasure here. He internally thanks the Joe family, noting that even the elite investigation team couldn't locate the hidden essence. He ventures deeper into the cavern to find the treasure, but the path is so deep that even after 10 minutes of walking, he still can't find the end. Finally, he encounters something that looks like a spiritual barrier. He doesn't know whether it is a natural phenomenon or man-made, but the moment he touches it, his hoarding system activates, allowing him to pass right through the barrier effortlessly. Inside, he finally discovers the 10,000-year spirit essence resting in the form of a small glowing pond. Strange mystical bubbles float up from the pool, acting as a natural byproduct of the energy. It is completely normal for a heavenly treasure to produce accompanying spirits like this, so Chumo decides to inspect it more closely later. Checking his memory for the proper manual instructions on how to use the essence, the protagonist prepares to take a bath inside the pool. He jumps directly into the liquid and is instantly overwhelmed by a heavy, sorrowful sensation, as if the collective emotions, life, and death of every creature that lived on this land for 10,000 years are pouring straight into his mind, accompanied by an endless scent of blood. When he opens his eyes, his gaze is significantly sharper than before. He rises from the essence pool, feeling a powerful upward surge of energy pulsing through his limbs. Landing firmly on his feet, our hero realizes his wind attribute has integrated with his body so perfectly that he can barely feel his own physical weight, making him incredibly light. He immediately opens the system interface to check the improvements to his talents and physical attributes. The screen updates to reveal that his physique has evolved into an advanced cultivation physique, and his thunder attribute has upgraded to a superior rank. Our boy now truly understands how miraculous this essence is. While consuming 4 bottles of beast blood essence only granted him a 500-point increase, this spirit pool managed to upgrade both his physical constitution and elemental attributes by an entire tier. Although the essence yields the most dramatic effects during the very first use, Chumo still collects a few remaining drops before heading back out into the wilderness to hunt, since there are still 3 days left in the official academy trial. After the 3 days conclude, all the students gather at the edge of the forest to have their hunt points inspected by the instructors. One student manages to score 67 points, causing the crowd to gossip that he has a solid chance of taking second place, since everyone already assumes the top spot belongs exclusively to the missing young master. Suddenly, a collective shock waves through the crowd as our boy walks out of the brush completely unscathed. The students' disbelief multiplies tenfold when the instructors count his spoils, revealing an incredible score of 103 points. The crowd refuses to believe the numbers, whispering that a talentless loser must have just picked up these materials from leftover carcasses somewhere. However, as the trial time officially expires, there is still no trace of the Joe clan heir. Some of the faculty grow worried, speculating that the bully might be in serious danger. The lead teacher turns to our boy and demands to know if he saw Joe Chi in the woods, but he calmly denies ever crossing paths with him. The teacher loudly claims the boy is lying, arguing that a regular failure couldn't possibly harvest this many high-level beast materials on his own. Fortunately, another instructor calms the situation down, reasoning that even though the clan heir hasn't returned, a talentless student like Chumo simply doesn't possess the combat strength required to harm someone of that caliber. Accepting the logic, the faculty officially declares our hero the winner of the trial based on his overwhelming point count. The head teacher announces that the official rewards will be distributed back at the academy campus, urging everyone to board the vehicles quickly since something highly dangerous is clearly roaming the jungle and picking off prodigies. As the students settle into the transport vehicle, the sympathetic instructor pulls our boy aside to issue a quiet warning. The teacher points out that with the young master missing, and the school loser suddenly pulling a massive haul of materials, the powerful Joe family will never believe he is entirely innocent in the matter. He advises our boy to take his rewards, head straight home, and stay indoors to avoid the inevitable fallout. Meanwhile, the grim news travels fast, reaching Joe Cheng, the formidable father of the missing genius and the ruthless leader of the clan. The powerful patriarch refuses to believe that his prized son could possibly fail or disappear during a simple academy trial. His subordinate nervously relays the official academy report, mentioning that the investigation teams can't even locate a body. The assistant then drops a crucial piece of information, revealing that our protagonist recently had a public clash with the young master over a girl, and that the very same boy just secured first place in the tournament. Hearing this, the patriarch's rage erupts. His grip tightens, completely crushing the skull of the fierce tiger beast resting under his hand before slamming the carcass in front of his subordinate. The furious leader darkly orders his men to bring the boy to his estate immediately, noting that if the teenager is truly involved, they must be extremely careful to secure the secret treasure he originally sent his son to find. After a few days, his beautiful fiancée comes back home only to find her partner nowhere in sight. However, she notices he left a fresh cooked meal waiting for her on the table, prompting her to ponder just how much our boy has changed recently. Before eating, she decides to sneak in some training. With the school-wide hunting competition just a month away, she is determined to break through into the true martial artist realm and hunt down the two-headed python for its valuable snake gall. As she walks around, her eyes catch strange electric burn marks on the table, leaving her wondering when on earth that happened. Meanwhile, her mysterious fiancé is hidden away in an abandoned area on the outskirts of the safety base. Thanks to his massive hoard of loot and grueling training, his total combat strength has reached an astronomical 19,700, though his baseline strength sits right at 9,900. Despite these impressive numbers, our hero is a bit disappointed. He managed to hit the 9,900 baseline 15 days ago, but his progress has completely stalled since then, preventing a clean breakthrough. To shatter this bottleneck, the protagonist decides to practice the reward he claimed from the hunting trial, a bronze-level movement technique known as the cloud step. To execute it, he needs to gather the majority of his elemental energy into his feet, while dispersing the rest evenly throughout his body. He attempts the footwork, but immediately stumbles. The technique is incredibly demanding. He doesn't just need to channel elemental energy, but he also has to synchronize his breathing, mobilize his entire muscular system, and even control his heartbeat during rapid bursts of movement. Trying a second time, our hero realizes that while this would be completely out of league for an ordinary warrior, his newly hoarded wind attribute makes it a tailor-made technique just for him. He practices the forms repeatedly, slowly gaining a grip on the concept, realizing it is the perfect tool for short-distance repositioning combined with a deceptive illusion effect. Once he finishes his session, our boy prepares to head back to the city. But the very next moment, his heightened senses tingle as a figure blurs through the air, landing heavily right in front of him. It is old K. Nian, a loyal, dangerous subordinate of the Zhou family. The old servant coldly orders our boy to follow him to his master's estate, but our clever boy flatly refuses, stating he has absolutely no affiliation with the clan or its leader. The elder narrows his eyes, warning the teenager that Patriarch Zhou Cheng is a late-stage martial artist and one of the strongest powerhouses in the base, advising our boy to comply peacefully. Our hero, well aware that this man is the father of Zhou Qi he executed, realizes the wealthy family is finally targeting him. He outrageously refuses the summons again, mocking that if the patriarch wants to see him so badly, the man can come find him himself. Infuriated by the blatant insolence, the elderly martial practitioner lunges forward, aiming to personally apprehend the boy and drag him back in chains. However, the moment his hand is about to clamp down, our hero completely vanishes from sight. The old man freezes in absolute shock, unable to comprehend how a student could master such advanced movement footwork so quickly. Before he can recover, the elder is petrified to see his dead young lord's signature battle sword resting casually in our hero's hand. The subordinate instantly roars in fury, shouting that the school failure is indeed the murderer of Zhou Qi. Before the elder can even launch a counterattack, our boy vanishes again, reappearing directly behind the old man's blind spot to unleash a devastating wind-piercing blade. The old servant goes completely berserk upon seeing the trash not only wielding his young master's blade, but executing the exact technique the young lord used to favor. Channeling his own elemental fury, the elder unleashes his signature Crimson Hawk Claw. Chumo steps into the strike, using his wind attribute to block the incoming heat. The old man is determined to overpower the boy and beat the truth out of him. but his fire technique only possesses the raw output of an early-stage martial artist. Since our hero's baseline is significantly higher, the elemental matchup causes the fire to violently backfire against the superior wind control. The old man manages to desperately force his way through the slipstream, driving his claw toward our boy's chest, but he walks right into a trap. Smiling coldly, our dude effortlessly sidesteps the strike, grabs the old man directly by the face, and unleashes his thunder attribute, literally roasting the early-stage martial artist alive. Standing over the lifeless body of the elderly practitioner, our boy realizes his current combat capabilities easily match a mid-stage or even a late-stage martial artist. However, a massive crisis is still looming in the form of Zhou Cheng. The patriarch has been firmly anchored in the late-stage martial artist realm for several years now, meaning a direct head-on clash is still outside our hero's current league. Realizing he needs to become a full-fledged martial artist as fast as possible to survive the clan's wrath, he prepares to head back into the deadly wilderness to permanently break past his physical limits. The next day, our boy's very first stop is the martial arts supply hall before he officially leaves for his hunt. This bustling hub acts as the main marketplace for martial practitioners, a place where they can trade rare materials, gather information, and accept high-reward tasks posted by different powerful forces and individuals. He enters the hall with a clear goal in mind: purchase the essential medicines, weapons, and survival supplies needed for a long trek. To streamline his shopping, he heads straight into the Jade House to buy everything in one go. Once inside, a helpful shopkeeper guides him through the absolute necessities required to survive out in the deep wilderness, recommending a comprehensive survival kit packed with specialized first aid gear and navigation tools. As he shows his spatial pouch to pay for the premium equipment, the salesgirl is in awe, secretly concluding that if someone this young has so much disposable cash, he must be an incredibly promising aspiring martial artist. Suddenly, a loud commotion near the shop catches his attention. A seasoned martial practitioner is loudly refusing a specific request to hunt a two-headed python, a task that strictly requires at least a mid-level martial artist to ensure survival. Whispers ripple through the crowd, revealing the tragic backstory of the client. She is an orphaned girl whose biological parents died in the wasteland, and now her foster mother is on the verge of death as well. The desperate girl is begging the passing mercenaries to fetch the heart of a two-headed python to cure her foster mother's illness. Unfortunately, she doesn't have the massive amount of money required to hire a high-level martial artist. All she can offer as a reward is a mysterious beast egg that is not going to hatch for 10 years. Hearing this, our boy decides to step in. With his current hidden strength, a grade 2 two-headed python is no longer a lethal threat to him. Coincidentally, the creature's habitat is located around the Dashu Mountain, the exact destination he is already planning to visit for his own breakthrough. Our hero walks past the skeptical crowd, approaches the girl, and calmly asks for the details of the task. She is completely taken aback, staring in disbelief that someone is actually willing to take her desperate mission. Our hero offers her a reassuring nod, telling her not to worry about a thing and to simply go home and wait for the good news. The entire hall is left stunned by his sudden display of goodwill, though a few cynical hunters scoff, whispering that our boy is probably just lying to get the noisy girl to leave the building. Meanwhile, an elegant lady and her elderly servant quietly observe our hero accepting the desperate task. When the old servant asks if they should step in and stop the protagonist from walking into danger, the young mistress gently declines, noting that there is no need to interfere since the boy has already made up his mind. The elderly servant softly comments on how genuinely kind-hearted the young boy seems, especially since he just accepted a perilous mission that offers absolutely no monetary reward. Her mistress nods in agreement, her interest in our dude clearly piqued. After a 2-day journey, Chumo arrives at the rugged wilderness of Dashu Mountain. Located about 20 miles away from the safety base, this mountainous region is a relatively controlled territory, often used as a training ground for aspiring novices. In contrast, seasoned martial practitioners usually venture into the deep wilderness over 100 miles away to hone their cultivation and hunt for high-grade supplies. Currently, our boy is deep in the zone, effortlessly cutting down a grade 2 low-level iron mantis. He has been hunting in these woods for a day and a half now, and with the permanent blessing of his thunder attribute, his raw strength has skyrocketed to a massive 15,000 jin. He isn't just mindlessly killing either. Our boy is meticulously harvesting blood essence, gathering rare heavenly materials, and collecting hidden treasures to continuously boost his foundation. His wind-piercing blade has successfully evolved to the second level of mastery, and his elusive cloud step is also on the absolute verge of a breakthrough. Suddenly, another mantis lunges from the brush to ambush him, but the protagonist instantly vanishes into thin air using his advanced footwork, reappearing a split second later to cleanly decapitate the insect with a flash of lightning. His strategy is clear. He needs to officially break through into the true martial artist realm first, before attempting to hunt the lethal two-headed python. Meanwhile, a massive commotion rocks the Luoyang First Academy. Today marks the official announcement of the general trial, and even the prestigious dean is making a rare personal appearance. The gathered students look around in awe, noticing several incredibly powerful, high-tier martial artists standing in the crowd. The dean, Shen Jin, steps up to the podium and signals for silence. He loudly announces a massive twist. This year, the Luoyang base is joining forces with the Changfeng base to host a joint two-city trial. This means the upcoming competition will not only include their own peers, but also elite students from rival academies, martial arts institutions, and top-tier schools from the neighboring Changfeng base. An intense murmur ripples through the crowd. A joint trial on this grand of a scale means the competition will be fierce, and the danger will be dialed up significantly. The dean emphasizes that because the trial is being held across the entirety of Dashu Mountain, which contains highly treacherous terrain, the students are officially permitted to form cooperative teams, though anyone too terrified to participate is free to back out immediately. However, with extreme danger comes unparalleled opportunity. The dean reveals a staggering list of generous rewards reserved for the top 10 teams and individual performers, including high-level martial arts techniques, beast blood essence, and premium primordial stones. The announcement instantly hypes up the crowd, igniting the competitive drive of the elite classes, which includes our boy's fiancé. The reality of Dashu Mountain is no joke, as the deeper regions harbor terrifying Grade 3 and Grade 4 beasts. As the crowd cheers, Shimi's thoughts drift to her missing fiancé. Since he hasn't shown up to campus recently, she assumes he is completely unaware of the trial, and given her protective nature, she thinks it is for the best that he stays safely behind. Just 3 days ago, she successfully forced her way into the true martial artist realm, significantly boosting her combat power. She is completely determined not only to place in the top 10, but to personally hunt down the two-headed python and secure its heart, firmly believing it will allow her talentless partner to finally awaken his cultivation abilities. Suddenly, a loud disturbance breaks out near the courtyard entrance as a rude teenager named Xu Guang begins aggressively shoving Luoyang Academy students out of his way. This arrogant redhead is a renowned prodigy from the Changfeng base. He sneers openly, mockingly commenting that the Luoyang base doesn't seem to have a single decent fighter worth his time. His tag-along lackeys immediately join in with heavy flattery, loudly boasting that their leader possesses a high-level saber talent and has already conquered the mid-stage martial artist level. They proudly declare it an absolute honor for the local students to even breathe the same air as him, openly calling the entire Luoyang student body absolute trash. The blatant insult instantly provokes the Luoyang First Academy crowd, but before anyone can step forward, the arrogant prodigy unleashes a sudden, aggressive burst of blade energy from his weapon. The local students freeze, completely petrified by the sheer speed and lethal pressure of the unprovoked attack. Refusing to let her classmates get bullied, Shimi steps directly into the path of the energy wave, deflecting the pressure to shield her peers. She glares at the intruder, coldly reminding him that blatant violence is strictly prohibited on academy grounds. The red-headed is momentarily stunned and captivated by the sudden appearance of such a beautiful, capable fighter. Before the tension can escalate any further, an academy instructor loudly commands everyone to cease fighting and prepare for immediate departure. Stepping back into his line, the arrogant saber user is waiting to see her very soon out on the slopes of Dashu Mountain. Meanwhile, our boy is busy hunting a massive number of monsters in the deep zones of Dashu Mountain. He currently finds himself completely surrounded by an aggressive pack of beasts, mostly consisting of fierce tigers and thunder leopards. The silver lining is that he can already feel the bottleneck loosening. He is on the absolute verge of a breakthrough at any moment. To tip the scales, Chumo immediately consumes another portion of harvested beast blood essence. Sensing a momentary flicker of weakness during his transition, the surrounding predators crouch, ready to jump him all at once. But the next instant, a humming surge of raw, unadulterated power erupts within his core. He officially shatters the barrier and steps into the true martial artist realm. To stabilize his newfound strength and loosen up his muscles, he needs a proper fight. Our protagonist rushes ahead with his battle sword raised, slashing through the incoming horde as if they are nothing but paper. After a brief, chaotic melee, the surrounding pack is completely wiped out. Furthermore, the intense breakthrough triggers a deep marrow-cleansing process, completely purging all remaining impurities from his body. With the transformation complete, his baseline strength alone has officially exceeded 17,000 Jin. Breaking through to the martial artist realm combined with his dual attributes means he can now easily take down a mid-stage martial artist, meaning he no longer needs to fear the wrath of Zhou Cheng. Before heading back to the base, our boy still needs to accomplish his primary mission, and luck is on his side as he senses his target nearby. He originally planned to travel all the way to the creature's known habitat, but it seems the massive commotion and energy fluctuations from his breakthrough drew the monster right to him. The suffocating aura radiating from the creature tells him everything he needs to know. This specific two-headed python has already reached the advanced tier of Grade 2, making it comparable to a formidable late-stage martial artist. The serpent wastes no time and launches an immediate attack. One head spews a thick cloud of toxic poison directly at him, while the other head snaps forward, attempting to devour him whole. The protagonist leaps backward, narrowly avoiding the lethal jaws. However, the first head continues to spray a paralyzing venom that threatens to compromise his reflexes. Our boy immediately activates his wind attribute to blow back the toxic mist, while utilizing his advanced footwork to slip out of the danger zone. The mutated serpent is incredibly sharp, its dual heads moving in perfect synchronization to herd him into a corner, forcing him to constantly alter his momentum. One of the snapping heads manages to graze him, but luckily, it only tears through his clothes. At this rate, our guy realizes there is no point in holding back. Dragging this battle out will only wear down his stamina. Concentrating every ounce of elemental energy into his legs, our hero channels the residual energy from his recent breakthrough to execute the cloud step with maximum output. The technique blurs his silhouette, allowing him to move at blistering speeds as he charges the giant python in a ghost-like form. One of the heads opens its jaws wide, anticipating his exact trajectory, but the strike only meets empty air and ground dust. Taking full advantage of the split-second distraction, our boy swings his sword with perfect precision, successfully severing the first head and provoking a maddening roar from the remaining one. The surviving head thrashes in a panicked frenzy, spewing venom blindly in all directions. In this high-stress moment, the protagonist's footwork technique finally breaks through to its second level of mastery, instantly doubling his movement speed. To the remaining head, Chumo becomes completely invisible, his sheer velocity allowing him to effortlessly dodge the incoming poison sprays. Appearing directly in the monster's blind spot, our hero challenges the python to look at his blade. With a single, clean sweep, he beheads the final head, completely conquering the advanced Grade 2 threat thanks to his upgraded technique. With the battle won, Chumo moves in to claim his premium loot. He carefully extracts the pristine python heart required to fulfill the little girl's request, and manages to harvest 20 high-quality vials of blood essence from the massive carcass. He also decides to strip the durable serpent skin, noting that it will be incredibly useful for crafting protective armor gear. The grueling fight was well worth the effort, as the resource yield from this single advanced beast is easily worth 100 low-level Grade 2 monsters. His next immediate plan is to return to the martial arts supply hall to purchase more advanced techniques now that he is officially a full martial artist. However, his departure is abruptly halted by the frantic voice of a girl screaming for help. She is sprinting through the brush, desperately fleeing from a group of stray, ferocious beasts. The protagonist acts instantly, blurring past her to effortlessly finish off the pursuers in a matter of seconds. As the girl catches her breath, she recognizes him as the school's famous failure and Simi's fiancé. Our hero recognizes her too. She is Du Jing, a student from the academy's elite class. The young woman is in a state of absolute panic, frantically informing him that their elite class just ran directly into an ambush by a terrifying chasing wind wolf led by Shu Guang. Then she begs him to go save his fiancé, screaming that Simi is in extreme danger. The news instantly commands his full attention, his gaze darkening as he demands to know exactly where his fiancé is located. On the other hand, the elite student is totally confused. In everyone's eyes, our hero is supposed to be the defenseless burden who always needs to be protected by his beautiful fiancé because of his inability to cultivate. Yet, right before her eyes, this supposed loser just casually slaughtered a high-tier monster like it was nothing. Noticing her stunned expression, our boy figures he might have scared her a bit, so he takes a step back, apologizes for the intensity, and calmly asks about Jimi's situation. The frantic girl quickly fills him in on the joint academy competition, explaining how their class formed a cooperative team to tackle the mountain slopes. While searching the deeper ridges, the female students were busy gathering wind spirit grass when a massive pack of chasing wind wolves ambushed them. The heroine immediately stepped into the vanguard to protect her classmate, and through sheer combat prowess, they actually managed to break out of the initial siege. However, their luck ran out when they ran straight into the arrogant redhead, Shu Guang, and his squad. With the situation turning ugly, his fiancé intentionally drew the enemy's attention, creating a desperate escape window for her classmate so she could run and get backup from the elite class. By the time the girl managed to slip away, Shimi was already sustaining injuries from the uneven fight. Desperate, the weeping student pleads with our boy to go and save his fiancé, pointing him toward the battlefield located about 10 miles to the southeast. Our hero assures the panicked girl that he will save his fiancé, telling her to focus on finding the rest of the elite class before he instantly dashes into the brush. Watching his departing silhouette blur through the trees, she feels a sudden wave of relief wash over her after the chaos, genuinely believing that he will save Jimmy. Meanwhile, 10 miles away, the brave heroine stands defiantly in front of the arrogant prodigy of the Changfeng base. The red-headed menace offers her a chance to join his elite squad instead of sticking with the losers of the Luyang base. But she flatly refuses, calling him a coward who only takes advantage of others by using the chaos of ferocious beasts to sneak attack her. The The villain just laughs at her defiance, mocking her sharpness, but in a flash he blurs directly in front of her. He unleashes a brutal strike that throws her violently against a tree bark, arrogantly claiming he will show her the absolute difference in their raw power. He sneers that he feels sorry for her, offering one last chance to submit to him. The proud heroine grits her teeth in response. Looking at her stubborn expression, the elite saber user boasts that ever since he awakened his high-level saber talent, no one has ever rejected him. He claims he won't force her anymore. Instead, he will simply fulfill her final wish and finish her off. Seeing the incoming lethal blade, the injured girl closes her eyes, silently accepting her fate. But the next split second, before the villain can even touch her, our hero drops from the sky, slamming right between them to block the fatal attack. Chumo channels his massive strength to violently push the attacker away, forcing the redhead to desperately brace himself against the dirt to stay upright. Xu Guang is in absolute disbelief, unable to comprehend how someone this powerful could belong to the trash-filled Lu Yong base. Our boy casually glances at him, coldly replying that the guy talks way too much. Hearing that familiar voice, the dazed heroine opens her eyes, her mind spinning as she tries to process if her supposedly defenseless fiancé is actually standing in front of her. The furious redhead immediately retaliates, unleashing his high-level ice talent alongside his saber. Seeing that the villain possesses a dual attribute, Chumo prepares himself. Because his injured fiancé is directly behind him, he can't simply use his cloud step to dodge the incoming blizzard. He has to stand his ground and tank the attack head-on. With a surge of lightning, he slashes through the incoming ice storm, but a stray shard manages to graze the girl behind him. Seeing his fiancé get hurt, our boy goes completely berserk. Stepping forward with raw fury, he unleashes a thunderous barrage, utterly overpowering the arrogant prodigy in a direct blade clash. The elite saber user is in total shock. On paper, our boy seems to possess the exact same level of physical power as him, so he cannot fathom how the protagonist is completely dominating the exchange. But our dude doesn't give him time to figure it out. In the next moment his blade flashes, finishing off the arrogant freak once and for all. As the system blinks to life to hoard the fallen prodigy's high-level saber talent into his baseline strength, our boy stands victorious, proving that with his system, nothing is impossible. Now that his enemy is permanently out of the picture, it is time to check the loot. Just like the previous young master, the fallen prodigy also left a premium storage bag. Our boy's face brightens as he inspects the dimensional pocket, discovering that the bag holds tens of thousands of low-grade yuan stones, alongside a massive hoard of high-scoring ferocious beast materials. Since his fiancé is already injured and can't continue hunting, he decides to simply hand this entire bag of spoils over to her, so she can effortlessly secure a top score in the competition. His next move is clear. Clean up the red-headed menace's body after absorbing his abilities, and then carry the dazed heroine to a safe, secluded spot to avoid any immediate trouble. Activating his core, he initiates the process and successfully hoards the deceased elite's high-level saber talent into his own system. After a few days, Chumo finds a quiet clearing to practice his newly acquired weapon affinity. Testing his form with a single casual swing, he effortlessly splits a passing beast right down the middle. During this trial run, he realizes that the redhead didn't actually possess a natural ice attribute. Rather, the freezing frost was merely a secondary elemental effect generated by his high-level sword technique. The Changfeng prodigy was truly an exceptional fighter, having advanced incredibly deep into his saber arts. He even left behind an elite technique called the Frost Thunderblade, a silver-level martial art that is far superior to ordinary skills. By utilizing his hoarding system to combine the dead prodigy's raw talent with his own current baseline, our boy can now wield the technique with even greater devastating power than its original master ever could. Intrigued by his explosive growth, he brings up his interface to check his updated stats. His base physical strength now pushes past 18,000 Jin, and when he factors in the massive multipliers from both his thunder and wind attributes, his total combat output skyrockets beyond a ridiculous 75,000 Jin. With these incredible numbers anchoring his foundation, he decides it is finally time to head back to the safety base. He has already spent a full, grueling month roughing it out in this dangerous wilderness, and he still needs to deliver the two-headed python's heart to the desperate little girl waiting in the city. Our boy rushes straight back to the martial arts supply hall, where the little girl is already waiting anxiously for him. While she waits, some passing mercenaries mockingly tell her to stop wasting her time, arguing that an advanced grade 2 two-headed python is far too dangerous for a random kid to handle. They tell her that the boy is either dead out in the wilderness or simply chickened out and fooled her from the start. Hearing these harsh words brings tears to her eyes as she begins to fear the absolute worst for her only hope. But the very next moment, the heavy entrance doors swing wide open, and the entire hall falls into an astonished murmur as our protagonist walks inside. He walks right up to the weeping girl and hands her the python heart, fulfilling his promise exactly as he said he would. Because the little girl's cultivation level is too low to verify the prize, an older appraiser steps forward to examine the organ. The man's eyes widen in absolute shock as he confirms that this is indeed a genuine two-headed python heart, but notes that it doesn't belong to a standard monster. This specific beast had already broken through into the advanced Grade 2 realm. Realizing the sheer magnitude of the feat, the grateful girl immediately hands over her reward, the mysterious, ferocious beast egg. As Chumo turns to leave, the little girl stops him, desperately wanting to know his true purpose for accepting such a deadly task when the reward she offered is widely considered completely useless, especially since it hasn't shown any signs of hatching for over 10 years. Our hero simply gives her a nonchalant smile, replying that he just wanted to help her out before walking away. Seeing a young warrior display such incredible strength and humility leaves the entire hall in absolute awe, with several independent hunters secretly wishing they could work under him. Watching his departing back, the little girl recalls the dark days when her biological parents died, and the greedy people around her immediately began plundering her family's assets. That trauma had made her believe that trust is a dangerous luxury in this brutal world, but as she clutches the python heart, she watches him leave with a renewed belief that there is finally someone in this life she can truly trust. Now that his hunt is officially over, our boy needs a reliable place to exchange his massive haul of beast materials. After pocketing his share of Yuan stones, he immediately purchases a copy of the specialized martial artist realm Yuan power body forging method to kickstart his next level of cultivation. He also has his sights set on a brand new weapon. For this, he considers two options: either buy a premium, finished blade right off the shelf, or commission a blacksmith to forge a custom sword using the reinforced spine and durable scales of the advanced python he just slaughtered. With these goals in mind, he finds himself standing in front of the Jade House. The salesgirl from his previous visit recognizes him the absolute second he steps through the door. She immediately realizes that he has officially broken through into the true martial artist realm. She quickly offers her enthusiastic congratulations, before politely asking what kind of supplies he requires today. During his last visit, his low cultivation level kept him blind to her true depth, but now he can clearly perceive that even this ordinary front desk clerk is a trained martial artist. It really shows the sheer, undeniable power of the Jade House if their floor staff possesses this level of strength. Our boy gets straight to the point, telling her that he is looking to buy high-grade cultivation resources and needs to sell off the material. Nodding understandingly, the clerk leads him into a private backroom to meet Elder Yang, the store's resident master appraiser. Our protagonist casually empties his spatial pouch, piling the counter high with an overwhelming mountain of pristine beast carcasses, including several high-tier pieces from Grade 2 low-level monsters. The old man's eyes sparkle as he sifts through the haul, clearly recognizing the exceptional quality of the materials. Throughout the evaluation, the elder is deeply impressed that a warrior this young could personally hunt such an immense quantity of high-grade creatures without ruining the hides. Once the final calculation is complete, the appraiser offers him a 156,000 low-grade yuan stones for the entire lot, a fair price that our boy gladly accepts. With the transaction settled, our boy provides a specific list of the cultivation resources he needs and asks if they can recommend a top-tier sword. Elder Yang hands him an exclusive inventory catalog of their rarest items, confidently boasting that if the Jade House doesn't carry what he is looking for, he won't stand a chance of finding it anywhere else in the entire base. Looking over the price tags in the catalog, the reality hits our boy. A mere high-grade combat sword costs a whopping 100,000 Wayne stones, while premium blood essence from advanced ferocious beasts sits at an eye-watering 200,000. He quickly realizes he was dead wrong to think his recent payout made him wealthy. With prices this steep, his hard-earned cash won't stretch very far. Adapting quickly, he decides to prioritize what he needs most. He settles on a durable Grade 3 alloy sword, the copy of the martial artist realm Yuan power body forging method, and a comprehensive encyclopedia covering ferocious beasts and exotic spiritual plants. Tallying up the final bill against his earnings, he finds that instead of pocketing a profit, he actually needs to pay an additional 16,000 Wen stones out of his own pocket. Right as he prepares to settle the debt, the front desk salesgirl abruptly interrupts the meeting, rushing into the room to whisper something urgently into Elder Yang's ear. The appraiser turns to our boy, informing him that the executive director of the Jade House wants to meet him upstairs. Our protagonist can't fathom why the mysterious head of such a massive establishment would target a newly advanced martial artist, but he head up anyway to find out for himself. The clerk leads him into a private suite. Resting on the seat is the exact same elegant lady and her elderly servant who watched him accept the orphaned girl's quest days ago. The very first thing our boy's sharp gaze locks onto is the intricate insignia embroidered on the old servant's robes, a mark indicating that the elderly woman is at least a formidable Grade 3 martial artist. His mind races, concluding that the young mistress must be far more than a mere local store director if her personal handmaiden is a powerhouse of that caliber. The lady offers a refined smile, introducing herself as Mo Shanshan, and politely apologizes for the abrupt summons. She gets straight to the point, inviting him to join the prestigious Jade Merchant Alliance. She explains that she personally witnessed his interactions, assuring him that she harbors absolutely no malicious intent. Furthermore, she reveals that she checked his official academy records. She knows he was logged as having zero innate talent for years, concluding that he must have been deliberately faking his weakness all along. Given that he just casually hunted an advanced two-headed python, she deduces his true combat strength must sit comfortably at the mid-stage martial artist realm or higher. Before he can grow defensive, Mo Shanshan quickly reassures him that she has no desire to pry into his personal secrets. She simply wants to recruit him based on his exceptional talent and rare kind-hearted nature. To prove her sincerity, she presents a Grade 3 battle sword forged from the bones and blood of a mid-stage Grade 3 ferocious beast, a weapon vastly superior to the basic alloy sword he selected downstairs. Our boy looks at the pristine blade but states his position with absolute clarity. He is a lone wolf who refuses to be bound by strict corporate contracts or forced restrictions. Mo Shanshan nods gracefully, entirely understanding his need for freedom. Instead of a standard recruitment contract, she proposes a flexible cooperation agreement. She reveals that the true headquarters of the Jade Merchant Alliance rests in Jingling, thousands of miles away from the tiny Luoyang base, possessing power that dwarfs this local branch. If he agrees to cooperate, he will hold the elite rank of an external consultant for the alliance. This title grants him a substantial monthly allowance, access to exclusive in-house resource auctions, the right to explore rare treasure troves, and a permanent 20% discount on all merchandise. In return, his only obligation is to complete a single assignment for the Alliance whenever they require it, and even then, he is never forced to comply, holding the absolute right to reject or swap the task if it doesn't suit him. He weighs the options, realizing the terms are incredibly generous and don't compromise his autonomy. Seeing him hesitate, the young mistress assures him he doesn't need to give an immediate answer. To show her goodwill, she emphasizes that he can keep the premium Grade 3 sword as a meeting gift, and his entire purchase from downstairs will be completely free of charge. Our boy asks if she isn't afraid he will just take the free loot and still refuse her offer. Mo Shanshan brushes it off by stating that a mere 200,000 wen stones is pocket change to her organization, and she firmly believes a clever warrior like him will make the right choice. Recognizing a golden opportunity, our hero finally smiles and accepts the consultant token. The moment he leaves the suite, the elderly handmaiden, Elder Zhou, turns to her mistress in utter bewilderment. She asks why the young miss went to such extreme lengths, offering premium titles and free treasures to recruit a boy who, while talented, shouldn't warrant such massive favors from their high-level alliance. As she speaks, the old woman's eyes suddenly widen with a flash of realization. Mo Shanshan smiles knowingly, confirming her servant's sudden suspicion. The young mistress reveals that she possesses a rare, passive auxiliary perception talent, which activated the exact second the boy walked through the door. She felt a deeply familiar resonant energy vibrating from his core, dropping a massive bombshell as she whispers that our hero and herself are exactly the same kind of people. Meanwhile, at the Luoyang Base First College Square, a massive crowd gathers for the official results announcement of the recent joint competition. A loud murmur ripples through the student body as the speakers declare Shimi the ultimate first-place winner. Under normal circumstances, Guo Kun, another top prodigy from the elite class, was heavily favored to secure the top spot. Aside from the scores, the entire campus is buzzing with intense gossip regarding her deadly encounter with Xu Guang, especially since the Changfeng base authorities haven't been able to locate a single trace of their star student's body. When the faculty calls her name, the heroine walks toward the stage to claim her rewards, her mind completely elsewhere. She vividly remembers how a mysterious savior dropped from the sky, rescued her from the brink of death, and left behind the dead prodigy's spatial storage bag. That massive stash of premium materials is the sole reason she managed to lock in the first-place score, and she is still desperately wondering about the true identity of her hidden protector. Her close friend gives her a quick poke to snap her out of her daze, urging her to step up to the podium. On stage, she receives a jaw-dropping haul, 10 vials of Grade 3 ferocious beast blood essence, 100,000 low-grade yuan stones, and a voucher to select any bronze-level martial arts manual from the Academy's library pavilion. To top it all off, the dean announces he will personally take her under his wing as a direct disciple, alongside a permanent increase to her monthly resource allowance. The crowd cheers wildly for her massive success, knowing that the dean's personal guidance is a priceless reward that dwarfs everything else. Yet, even during her moment of glory, she finds herself thinking about her supposedly talentless fiancé, wondering if she is just overthinking that he is her savior. Meanwhile, our boy is deep in training at his usual abandoned area outside the city limits, pushing his new weapon affinity to the limit. He unleashes the Frost Thunderblade technique, a single casual sweep of his weapon instantly encasing a dozen charging beasts in solid ice. The next second, a massive earthworm-like monster erupts from the soil to ambush him. Our hero doesn't blink, executing his advanced cloud step to effortlessly glide out of the danger zone. He immediately follows up with another burst of the Frost Thunderblade, driving a wave of freezing elemental energy deep into the earth. The expanding ice violently forces the subterranean beast out of the dirt, leaving it completely exposed and vulnerable on the surface. Without wasting a single heartbeat, he unleashes a sky-splitting blade, cleanly bisecting the massive creature. The sheer kinetic impact of the strike is so overwhelming that the residual shockwave blasts a gaping hole straight through a nearby concrete wall. Standing amidst the debris, the protagonist analyzes his current combat synergy. Mastering both the Frost Thunder Blade and the Sky-Splitting Blade completely doubles his chances against future high-tier enemies. A prodigy on the level of the dead redhead would now easily get finished off in a single shot. However, even though his swordsmanship talent has safely reached the master tier, our boy fighter still feels like a crucial piece of the puzzle is missing, preventing him from unleashing his full potential. He realizes that while his martial arts comprehension is off the charts, his physical body isn't robust or refined enough to fully channel the massive energy output. According to the specialized manual he purchased from the Jade House, the true martial artist realm requires mastering 3 subsequent physical refinement stages: UN power body forging, blood refining, and chi gathering. To fix his bottleneck, he immediately sits cross-legged to begin the intense Yuan power body forging routine. He awakens his core aura, channeling a torrent of raw environmental energy directly into his muscles and bones. His training is completely relentless, remaining locked in isolation for a solid half-month. The grueling process brings an indescribable, agonizing sensation. Suddenly, a sharp, piercing pain erupts throughout his entire frame, forcing him down to his knees as his bones feel like they are being roasted alive. A dark, foul-smelling layer of hidden impurities begins to ooze from his pores, a deep, unexpected bone-cleansing reaction triggered by the premium forging manual. Once the painful process concludes, our boy opens his eyes, realizing his cultivation speed has increased more than 5-fold compared to his old basic training methods. At this progressive rate, he calculates he can easily break into the master martial realm within 3 short years. However, he still feels the pace is too slow. Patriarch Jo Chung has undoubtedly caught wind of his return to the base by now. While our hero no longer fears a direct encounter, he cannot ignore the reality that the wealthy Zhou family holds massive political influence and possesses enough capital to hire countless high-level mercenaries and experts to do their dirty work. To survive the looming storm, he needs to become significantly stronger, and fast. Over at the Zhou family villa, the atmosphere is suffocatingly dark. Patriarch Jo Chung listens intently to a detailed intelligence report regarding our boy's recent movements. After analyzing the timeline, the ruthless leader concludes that the teenager is incredibly clever and has definitely managed to get his hands on the miraculous treasure inside the Earth Dragon nest. The Patriarch knows the boy will be on high alert, meaning they need a flawless ambush when they finally move in to strike. With a cold, calculating expression, Jo Chung casually tightens his grip, instantly snapping the neck of the messenger pigeon resting in his hand before tossing the carcass aside. He darkly orders his subordinates to keep a round-the-clock watch on our boy. The moment the kid steps foot into the isolated abandoned area outside the city walls, the Patriarch intends to personally head out to execute him and reclaim the stolen treasure. Meanwhile, even though our dude heads back home, his mind is still completely locked onto training. He remembers Mo Shanshan's offer that, as an external consultant, he can use the Jade House's premium martial arts training buildings completely free of charge, which can double his cultivation speed. He decides to head over there to heavily grind his chi gathering process, which is still lacking. Right as he is about to leave, Shimi spots him and notices he is heading out. He quickly reassures her that he is just going out for a bit but will remain inside the safety base, so she has absolutely nothing to worry about. Before stepping out, he casually mentions that he heard she got injured during the joint trial, congratulates her on securing the first-place finish, and takes his leave. Seeing his totally normal, unbothered reaction, the heroine sighs, fully assuming her mysterious savior definitely wasn't him. So he heads straight to the top-tier martial arts facility belonging to the Jade House. Once inside a private chamber, he begins practicing his Frost Thunder Blade, focusing entirely on perfecting a single, devastating blow. Even though he can comfortably control the freezing element now, he still feels like something is missing every time he unleashes a frost technique. He guesses that his insufficient chi control is preventing him from drawing out the true potential of the ambient Yuan power. He swings his sword again and again, but the results leave him completely unsatisfied. He analyzes the name of the technique, the Wild Frost Tribulation Thunderblade. The skill heavily manifests the freezing frost, but the thunder aspect barely shows up. He wonders if a silver-level martial art simply can't handle his dual attributes simultaneously. But as he repeats the name over and over in his head, his mind gets stuck on the very first word, wild. Suddenly it hits him. It's not about the natural elements attached to the blade. It's about the pure, unadulterated wildness of the martial art itself. He realizes the wielder has to slice through everything in their path with absolute savagery, without a single shred of hesitation. The true execution requires him to completely abandon his defense and strike with absolute single-minded ferocity. In this state of mind, 1,000 chaotic strikes blend seamlessly into a single, cohesive flash, and a single swing carries the weight of 1,000 blades. The sole purpose is to drag the enemy into a fight to the death. Embracing this realization, he restarts his drill, unleashing a frenzy of attacks that makes his blade look utterly invincible. At dusk, he finally steps outside after his relentless training session. Right at that moment, 2 other martial artists are walking toward the building. They chat about how these premium structures seem completely unshakable, since they are reinforced with complex magic circles inside and out, making them vastly more stable than any standard concrete building. But as the 2 men get closer, their jaws drop in absolute horror. The entire reinforced training building has been completely shattered and reduced to rubble from the inside out. The facility guards instantly rush forward, weapons drawn and ready to apprehend whoever caused such massive destruction to Jade House property, immediately surrounding our boy. But before things can escalate, Mo Shanshan appears on the scene. She turns to our boy and asks if he has actually managed to touch the legendary swordsmanship realm. She can't believe the sheer level of genius standing before her. The boy hasn't even hit his 20th birthday yet, and he is already shattering conceptual boundaries. Our guy asks her what exactly the swordsmanship realm is. Mo Shanshan blinks, realizing he genuinely has no idea because the ordinary academy curriculum only teaches basic combat formulas. This realization only skyrockets her admiration for him. The boy literally discovered an advanced conceptual realm completely on his own. He is proving to be vastly more powerful than she initially calculated, making him more than worthy of his high-status consultant token. She then patiently explains that when a martial artist possesses an innate talent for swords or sabers, they can cultivate deep weapon-specific realms, and swordsmanship itself has 3 distinct tiers. The first tier is Blade Light, where the weapon glows with raw energy and radiates a suffocating killing intent the moment it is drawn. The second tier is Sword Powder, where the overwhelming shadow of the blade fills the entire sky, creating an unstoppable sweeping storm. The final legendary tier is Sword Intention. When a master draws their weapon, the entire area is enveloped in an inescapable conceptual aura that ordinary swordsmen can't even stand against. Now that he has the vocabulary for it, our boy analyzes his own progress. Normally, a newly advanced martial artist should only be scratching the surface of the first tier. But because he hoarded the Shu Guang's advanced weapon talent, he was able to leap forward in such a short amount of time. He quickly apologizes to Mo Shanshan for accidentally demolishing her expensive building. She simply brushes it aside, smiling that if a single building is the price for him to realize his true sword potential, it is worth every single yuan stone. She notes that he now needs to consolidate this sudden burst of insight, and actual life-or-death combat will be the fastest way to do it. Meanwhile, the surrounding guards watch in absolute awe, completely stunned to see their high and mighty director speaking so casually and warmly to a teenager. Leaving the ruined facility behind, our boy walks through the streets, his mind mulling over Shanshan's advice. He questions whether he should head back out to the treacherous slopes of Dashu Mountain for real combat experience. But the very next moment, his sharp senses tingle. He catches a faint, lingering presence keeping a careful eye on his movements from the shadows. Instead of panicking, he activates his advanced footwork and completely vanishes from their sight. A split second later, he materializes directly behind the hidden trackers, his voice dropping to a dark, lethal whisper as he asks if they are looking for him. Before the scouts can even process what is happening, our hero moves like lightning, instantly subduing them. He grabs one of the men tightly by the throat, violently slamming him against a nearby brick wall. His grip tightens as he coldly demands the name of their master. The terrified scout gasps for air, desperately choking out the name Zhou Cheng. He fully expected the vengeful patriarch to move against him, and his decision is made instantly. He resolves to permanently eliminate the threat himself, before the clan leader can ever bring the danger anywhere near Shimi. Smiling coldly, Chumo realizes this is the perfect opportunity for high-stakes combat he needs to lock in his new realm. At the Zhou family villa, 2 guards are casually discussing how Zhou Cheng is becoming colder and more ruthless every single day following the death of his son. Suddenly, one of the guards is snatched away by our boy so silently that the other guard has absolutely no idea what just happened. He is instantly startled as he turns mid-sentence, wondering where his companion went, completely unaware that our boy has already materialized directly behind him. Meanwhile, a guard stationed at another post thinks the 2 are just lazing around on the job, especially since it is almost time to change the duty shift. But as he walks over, he is completely taken aback to see that multiple guards are already knocked out cold. The sheer impossibility of the situation leaves him utterly baffled. The next moment, he senses a presence nearby, spinning around to aggressively demand who the intruder is. Inside the main house, Zhou Cheng is emitting a dark, suffocating aura, completely furious at the scouts who were assigned to track Chumo but failed to return. Suddenly, he notices a strange noise coming from the courtyard outside. He loudly demands to know what is going on, but none of his men answer him. Assuming the guards are just slacking off or arguing, he opens the door, only to find our boy standing calmly amidst a pile of knocked-down guards. Not recognizing that this is Chumo, Zhou Cheng is totally confused as to how this intruder managed to take down so many of his men while barely making a sound, leaving him wondering when on earth Liu Yang produced such a terrifying powerhouse. The very same powerhouse just looks right back at him. It becomes immediately clear to our boy that Zhou Cheng has no idea what he actually looks like. When our hero casually introduces himself, Cheng is completely taken aback to realize that this kid is Chumo. He simply cannot believe that the school failure is powerful enough to effortlessly wipe out his elite guard. When Chumo killed old Nian, the patriarch personally checked the corpse, which led him to believe that Chumo was only an early-stage martial artist at best, so reaching this level of power so quickly makes no sense. But then, a realization hits the leader. He remembers the secret spirit essence hidden deep within the Earth Dragon Nest, the exact treasure he told his son Qi to find. He pieced things together and exclaims that this legendary essence must be what made Chumo this absurdly powerful in just a single month, completely enraged because that miraculous treasure was originally supposed to belong to him. Zhou Cheng roars in absolute fury, unleashing a swarm of Yuan-made swords that fly straight toward our boy, screaming that he is going to slaughter the thief who stole his rightful opportunity. Watching the incoming barrage, our boy instantly notices that his enemy possesses an incredibly refined control over his Yuan power body. The display perfectly proves the patriarch's status as a veteran martial artist who has been anchored in this realm for years, utilizing his dense energy to manipulate the flying blades from a distance and maximize his attack range. However, our dude is already one step ahead. Before those lethal blades can even graze his skin, he manifests a dense shield of pure Yuan power around himself, effortlessly tanking the explosive impact. Zhou Cheng does not expect his opponent to wield such a potent protective barrier. Believing the youth must be exhausted from blocking his continuous five-pointed sword formation, the old man rushes forward to press the advantage, his primary blade flashing in his hand. But Chumo is entirely prepared. He activates his advanced cloud step, fluidly shifting his weight to dodge the lethal lunge. Stepping into the old man's blind spot, our boy counters, and the two exchange a relentless flurry of blows. The chaotic ring of clashing steel echoes through the villa, forcing Zhou Cheng to realize that Chumo's speed, reflexes, and raw output of Yuan power are not inferior to his own in the slightest. Seizing a momentary gap in the patriarch's stance, our guy unleashes a heavy strike that forcefully pushes the old man back. Zhou Cheng is slammed hard against a nearby wall, but as his back hits the structure, he quickly presses a hidden trigger brick. The mechanism immediately detonates a massive concealed explosion right beneath Chumo's feet, sending the younger warrior flying out into the open courtyard. Zhou Cheng pursues him instantly, blurring through the smoke to stand over him. The villain sneers, mocking the boy by telling him that even if he somehow stumbled into power, he is a fool to think he can defeat him on his own home turf where deadly traps await. The old man fiercely declares that if our boy's bones and blood have already absorbed that miraculous spirit essence, then he will gladly rip out his skeleton and drain every last drop of his blood to reclaim it. Readying his five-pointed sword, Cheng is going to end this battle by telling him to go to hell and apologize to his son. However, Chumo is also ready. As soon as the sword is about to get him, he immediately uses ghost steps, rushing toward his enemy to hit him with a thunder talent attack. Cheng is shocked that he is still alive. Readying his blade, Chumo claims that Qi was silly and shameless, so he is naturally ready for his daddy as he attacks him. Cheng blocks the sword with his five-pointed sword. For a moment, our boy overwhelms him, but then, Cheng rises again, going completely berserk to show him why even master martial artists don't mess with him. So he immediately rises and with burning power rushes toward him. Around him, he is activating the explosive power of the transcontinence realm. Such is the transformation after the completion of the sky-splitting blade. Our boy knows this, but he doesn't try to escape because he finds it a good opportunity to test his strength against such a powerful foe. His enemy also notices this, but he is confident that his power of 10,000 blades will finish Chumo no matter what. Even if he somehow misses him, he will at least injure him. Our boy is also ready with his sword as he activates his blade resonance. Cheng is shocked to see that he has mastered the swordsmanship. Before he can understand the true depth of our boy's power, Chumo rushes ahead with his blade and cuts him down. Cheng's blades shatter as he falls. This way, the Zhou family finally ends with the death of its head. The next day, the Luoyang law enforcement team comes to the villa to investigate. The captain is taken aback to see someone as powerful as Zhou Cheng killed. His subordinate reports that all of the residents of the Zhou villa are killed with a single slash. Judging by this, the captain concludes that the murderer is a powerful swordsman whom they can't handle. So, he orders them to gather all the information immediately and report to the higher-ups for a decision. Meanwhile, at his home, our boy is quite satisfied after calculating all of the loot he gets from the Zhou family. Now his next step is to focus on his cultivation as he strives to raise his realm quickly in order to reach the master martial realm. When he is gathering everything in his bag, the box with the egg is taken down. Opening it, he wonders why the egg hasn't hatched even though it's alive, especially since the average ferocious beast's egg hatches in 3 years. So he decides to use a few methods. He puts a drop of his blood on it so it recognizes him as its master. He infuses vitality but it doesn't hatch, which frustrates him, so he decides to cook it. Then he angrily gives it his thunder but nothing works. So, he decides to give up for now. If it isn't going to hatch, he shouldn't have gotten it in the first place. It is better if he goes on to training. For this purpose, he is going to use the Wind Spirit Fruit, which enables a martial artist with the wind attribute to gain enlightenment, potentially enhancing their wind element. Finally, honing his wind attribute gives the best result. Our boy can now use a sonic explosion. It is proof that he is as fast as a first-level, 3-clawed eagle ferocious beast. A medium-sized beast is kicked by him simply because his speed is faster than it. Thanks to the consumption of 42 wind fruits and half a month of practice and digestion, he is able to surpass the speed of sound. Checking his system, he is glad to see that his wind attribute has upgraded to the bronze level. Now, if he runs with all his strength, he can reach 5 times his usual speed, which matches the peak of a martial artist master. He decides not to stop training yet. With the after effects of his breakthrough, he will be able to hit body forging. With burning power, he starts training again, sensing the blood in his body mobilizing along with his chi. The next moment, electric power envelops him. Now with his basic 50,000 Jin, his overall power can reach 200,000 Jin with the Thunder attribute. This means he is at the mid-stage martial artist realm. Now that his body forging is complete, his next step is blood refining. For a moment, he thinks about how, compared to his early stage progress with the forging, the middle stage of Qi and blood refining is taking a very long time. For any normal martial artist, it takes years. Because of this, he decides to go to the Jade House to see if there is any elixir that can refine his blood and Qi. The next day he goes to the Jade House for this purpose. The director immediately realizes that his level has risen. She thinks about how she has traveled through so many large bases, yet found very few people making such rapid progress. Chumo comes straight to the point, explaining that his training demands a faster process while asking for the elixir. Hearing this, she informs him that they have the blood-refining elixir, but they also have a task for him that will give good rewards. He urges her to go on, assuming the task is related to his role as a consultant. The task is to retrieve and bring a treasure that is currently in the Changfeng base back to the Luoyang base, as the Changfeng base doesn't have much manpower right now. Since the distance between both bases spans thousands of miles, passing through areas with many ferocious beasts, other martial arts masters will accompany our boy. The lady also promises a great reward. Considering that the task is dangerous, he will receive 5 portions of the one-horned jade liquid from the one-horned rhinoceros. If he is willing, he needs to go to the west gate of the Luoyang base at 7 a.m. 5 days from now. Thinking about the reward, which can increase his blood and Qi refining speed by 10 times, he decides to take the task. He knows the one-horned rhinoceros is rare to find, so if the Jade House is giving such a reward, the task must be highly difficult. But he agrees for the sake of the reward. 5 days later, he reaches the outside of the west gate of the Luoyang base and checks his teammates' strength. They all look strong, and he notices that even the regular members are at the late-stage martial arts realm, while the highest ranking among them is at the level of a martial arts master. The director urges him to come forward as she introduces another character, Zhang Xuan, who is a manager of the Jade House. He has a medium swordsmanship talent and a low-grade metallic talent. He tries to get chummy with the director, but she slaps his hand away and introduces Chumo to him. Hearing that our dude is a consultant, Zhang Xuan tries to downplay his position, muttering that not just anybody can be a consultant. Chumo immediately notices his hostility. At that moment, they are interrupted by Chen Yuan, who is the leader of the task, a late-stage martial arts master, and one of the managers of the Jade House Merchant Alliance. He explains the rules for the newcomers. They already have a pre-booked route for their travels, so they are strictly prohibited from leaving in the middle of the journey or contacting outsiders at will. If something happens, they are required to contact him first. If they won't comply, they can leave right now. Otherwise, they will face the consequences if they break the rules. Looking at the man, our boy admits he is an experienced leader who knows how to maintain discipline and cooperation. With the rules set, the leader asks everyone to introduce themselves and their strength. One by one, they start to introduce themselves. Wang Kai is an early-stage martial artist specializing in swords. Hao Nan is a peak martial artist, also specializing in the sword. Xin Yongsheng is another peak martial artist who specializes in daggers, possesses a weak wind attribute, and can carry out assassination and reconnaissance missions. Then, Zhang Xuan introduces his own ability. Hearing his stats, everyone praises him, talking about how bright his future looks. With his ego inflated, Zhang Xuan mocks our boy, telling him to introduce himself since he is a consultant. When Chumo introduces himself as a mid-stage martial artist who specializes in the sword, they can't believe that someone with such meager strength became a consultant. They instantly view him as a total burden. Zhang Xuan even goes so far as to mockingly ask him if they should just leave him behind to die during the journey if he slows them down. The director tries to remind Zhang Xuan that Chumo's qualifications were thoroughly evaluated by the Jade House before he was given the job, but this arrogant prick refuses to settle down. Instead, he challenges our boy to a fight, declaring that if he wins, Chumo won't be allowed to participate in the mission, and his consultant position will belong to Zhang Xuan instead. Burning with power, our dude accepts the challenge. The onlookers immediately judge that, with his mid-stage martial arts realm, our guy doesn't stand a chance against Zhang Xuan, who has reached the Blade Light realm, especially since his metal attribute increases his sword level to the next tier. The leader assures the director that he won't let Zhang Xuan hurt our boy, but she shows total confidence in our hero, knowing that when it comes to swordsmanship realms, Zhang Xuan is completely inferior to him. Oblivious to this, the arrogant prick tells the director he won't hurt our boy too badly. He rushes toward Chumo, wondering out loud what gave him the confidence to accept this challenge, and exclaims that he will defeat him. Our dude steps back to dodge the attack. In reality, this prick is a snake. He separates his sword aura into hair-thin needles. If our boy couldn't see them with his speed-seeing eyes, his meridian points would be cut off, and his martial arts career would be ruined. Chumo can't believe how ruthless this person is. Realizing Zhang Xuan is someone who should be eliminated, Chumo suddenly stops his movement. Everyone shouts, wondering why he stopped. Zhang Xuan, however, has another trump card in his arsenal. He uses his metal talent to create small steel needles to cut Chumo's meridian points. He goes in for the strike again, but this time, our dude grabs Zhang Xuan's sword blade with his bare hand and uses his thunder talent to break it easily. The next moment, Chumo takes his own sword, declaring that Zhang Xuan wanted to see where he gets his confidence from. With a strike of his thunderblade, he cuts off Zhang Xuan's meridian points instead. The leader confirms that Zhang Xuan is still alive, but now completely useless. After seeing this, everyone admits our boy's strength. With the conflict settled, they finally leave for their mission. They spend the next 4 days traveling. As usual, they take a break for the night but don't light a fire so they don't attract any beasts. They rotate guards to watch the camp every 2 hours. Xin Yongsheng admits that Chen Yuan's leadership is great, as they have traveled smoothly and avoided 80% of the ferocious beasts. Tomorrow they will reach the Changfeng base. Hao Nan agrees, mentioning that it is his first time on Chen Yuan's team too, but his sentence is cut short as someone kills him. The attack is so abrupt that they don't even have time to react properly. As Hao Nan falls back without a sound, the group can't comprehend what just happened. Our boy raises his sword, knowing for clear fact that someone is out there. However, the strange thing is that he can't sense any airflow fluctuation or the trajectory of the attack. The leader urges everyone not to panic. Then, within seconds, another guard is done for. Xin Yongsheng shouts that there is a white shadow next to him. That same shadow turns to attack our boy as well, but he fortunately dodges it. Now that it is close, he can finally see the creature. The leader grows incredibly tense as he recognizes it. It is a blank weasel. Everyone is on high alert as multiple spaces tear open around them. Our boy tries to arch away from the thing and lands firmly on the ground. Wang Kai, on the other hand, is trembling, thinking they are completely done for since the blank weasel can travel through space. The leader tries to reassure him, stating it is just a level 3 ferocious beast. If they can find a flaw or take it on together, they stand a chance. He orders everyone to form a defensive circle, standing back to back, so the moment they spot the beast, they can attack it with all their might. Everyone complies. Chumo respects Chen Yuan's leadership tactics, recognizing that this formation gives them surveillance from all directions, but he still gets the nagging feeling that they are missing something. Suddenly, a guard spots something, and an instant later, an attack shoots straight into his chest. Everyone is taken aback because they didn't see a thing. The attack is so brutal that the guard's heart is completely ripped out right in front of them. Our boy is stunned to see that the beast took the heart but didn't even eat it, meaning it is just playing with them. He wonders if the beast possesses the intelligence. One by one, more guards are taken down. The leader tells them to stay calm, warning that panicking will only make them the next target. The survivors shout in frustration, knowing the beast is right there but unable to land a hit on it. Xin Yongsheng faces the exact same helpless situation. Watching the slaughter unfold, Wang Kai panics completely, swinging his sword wildly here and there in a desperate attempt to kill the creature. However, his desperation makes him lose his guard, which costs him his life. Taking advantage of the situation the moment the beast appears to strike Wang Kai, our dude immediately moves with his level 2 ghost steps and uses his sky-splitting blade to attack the weasel. Everyone looks on in awe as he actually manages to hit the blank weasel. He shouts to the group that since the weasel is injured, its speed will be affected, so everyone needs to stay alert. The remaining crew calls out directions whenever they spot the beast, and Chumo immediately flashes over to attack. Suddenly the beast's activity stops. Xin Yongsheng informs them that whenever a blank weasel appears, it never gives up on its prey unless it dies, so she senses it must still be lurking nearby. Meanwhile, our boy analyzes the situation. The beast must either be heavily injured or waiting to finish him with a single decisive blow. If it truly is intelligent, it will target our hero next, which means he can use himself as bait to kill it. Suddenly, Xin Yongsheng shouts to him that it is right above him. Taking the chance, Chumo immediately dodges the incoming attack and slashes downward. Everyone is absolutely shocked to see that he successfully manages to kill a blank weasel. Practically no one below the level of a martial arts master can survive an encounter with one. Even the leader admits that he wouldn't have survived the beast's attack himself, which makes him realize just how incredible the director's perception was to recruit Chumo. He sincerely thanks our boy for saving them. Our hero brushes off the gratitude, saying they are comrades in a life-and-death situation, prompting the leader to warmly start calling him brother from that moment on. The next day they finally reach the Changfeng base, but they see absolutely no one. The leader finds it highly irritating because he sent word ahead to the head of the Jade House at Changfeng about their arrival, yet no one is there to greet them. Our guy also finds it incredibly strange that such a massive base is completely deserted. As they step further inside, they still don't find a single soul, which only increases his growing sense of dread. After a while, Lao Sun, the representative from the Changfeng base, comes over to greet them. When Chen asks why he is late and why he only brings 2 other members with him, Sun starts to explain but suddenly cuts himself off. Making a quick excuse, he sends the rest of the team to rest at the hotel while taking Chen away under the pretext of handling the handover procedures for the treasure. Watching them leave, our boy realizes something major must be going on at the base that Sun wants to discuss with Chen privately, far away from him and the others. Back in his hotel room, Chumo pulls out the corpse of the blank weasel. Since this creature has the rare ability to travel through space, he hopes to acquire the exact same skill to give his overall strength a massive boost. The next moment, he initiates the system absorption. As the space talent fuses into his core, his space perception talent immediately activates. With this active sense, he can clearly map out everything around him within a 50-meter radius. He wonders if he can actually teleport through space now, just like the blank weasel did. To give it a shot, he triggers his new space transfer talent. He instantly blurs outside and snatches a pigeon. It works perfectly, proving he can instantly teleport to any spot within his perception range by slipping through a space rift, a killer talent that works beautifully for both offense and defense. Nearby, Chen and Sun happen to spot him dropping down from the tree. Our boy walks up and asks if the paperwork is finished, and Chen confirms that they are hitting the road tomorrow. Looking the kid over, Sun assumes he must be Chen's nephew, but the old leader just laughs and proudly introduces our boy as the genius consultant of the Jade House. Sun nods in approval, highly impressed that someone can become an alliance consultant at such a young age while only sitting at the mid-stage martial artist realm. He introduces himself to our boy, warmly assuring him that he can come to him directly whenever he needs exclusive information. Chumo gets straight to the point, asking about the deserted ghost town condition of the base and wanting to know what is really going on. Sun decides it is finally time to spill the beans. He explains that he kept quiet earlier just to avoid causing a panic, but right as he is about to explain the grim situation at the Changfeng base, a loud commotion cuts him off. They spin around to see a crowd of terrified people running for their lives from a giant grade 3 thorn dragon. Our boy grits his teeth in utter disbelief. A base is supposed to be heavily guarded by high-level martial arts masters, so the fact that a ferocious beast can just wander inside proves the local defenses are completely broken. The thorn dragon lets out a deafening roar and lunges, about to crush a helpless little girl. Activating his advanced ghost step, our boy rushes forward like a flash, blasting the beast back to save the child. He tosses the girl into Qian's arms to keep her safe before immediately turning back to hunt the monster down. Sun panics, worrying that a mid-stage martial artist like Chumo stands zero chance against a thorn dragon, a creature that even grade 3 warriors struggle to dent. But Qian just smiles, assuring him that our hero is definitely not some random, ordinary mid-stage fighter. Our boy charges ahead, using his level 2 cloud step to sprint straight up the dragon's thick scales. The monster thrashes wildly, trying to shake him off its back, but he manages to grab hold of one of its massive thorns to stabilize his grip. Using the thorn as a springboard, he launches himself high into the air, flying straight toward the beast's face. The thorn dragon looks up and spots him, but our hero is already channeling a massive thunder strike into his blade, ready to plunge his sword deep into the monster's skull. He plunges the sword in, channeling his thunder attribute, and the next moment, he pulls it out and lands firmly on the ground, leaving the beast to collapse. Chen Yuan and Sun are incredibly glad that he saved them all and defeated the Thorn Dragon. However, Chumo is in a serious mood. He asks Sun how it is even possible for a level 3 beast to be working within 30 kilometers of the base. Sun explains their current problem. Recently, the ferocious beasts around their base have become extremely active and have started attacking the perimeter. The base sent several groups of martial artists to investigate, but they never came back. Consequently, 5 out of the 6 Grandmasters were sent to investigate the matter, leaving only Grandmaster Zi Yuan at the base right now. Because of this, their martial arts manpower has been cut in half. Chen Yuan hopes they will resolve this issue soon and offers their team's help if needed. Meanwhile, our boy analyzes the situation and realizes there is definitely more to this than meets the eye. If 5 Grandmasters went to investigate, it is highly unusual, as normally at least 3 are required to remain at the base. Besides, the trial between the 2 cities happened a month ago. What was the need to send their people on a trial when they are facing such a severe shortage of manpower? At that moment, some guards arrive ready to fight the Thorn Dragon, but they are relieved to see it is already killed. They assume it was Sun who took care of it, but Sun clears it up and introduces our hero as the one who did the work. As the guards thank him, Sun receives a call from the higher-ups. Hanging up, Sun informs Chumo and Chen Yuan that the guard captain has invited the 3 of them to the center. They are led by the guard to the center of the base. Since the Grandmaster acting as the guard captain cannot leave the command center, they have to go to her. Once in front of her office, the guard tells them to enter. As soon as Chumo steps inside, the door shuts, and he finds himself in total darkness. He immediately goes on guard, wondering whether it is a trap or an illusion, and activates his perception to scan his surroundings. The next moment, a barrage of arrows shoots toward him, which he easily dodges. Strangely, the move is a killing blow, yet he can't sense any actual killing intent. Then, he hears the Grandmaster comment that he is pretty sharp. Spotting her silhouette, he uses his space talent to instantly close the distance to her. When he attacks her position, he only breaks her chair. The woman is nowhere to be seen. Suddenly the lights turn on, and he hears the sound of clapping. The Grandmaster praises him, revealing that she was just testing him. Our boy, however, demands to know what this test is all about. At that moment, the door bursts open as both Chen Yuan and Sun rush in. Chen Yuan was quite worried about him when the door closed right after Chumo entered. The Grandmaster apologizes for frightening them, then explains her reason for the test. She needed to evaluate our boy's skills. In reality, they have discovered that the strange movements behind the ferocious beasts are man-made. The culprit's Yuan power contains a specific beast energy that is most likely to be detected under a sudden attack, and she had to ensure that she can trust Chumo. Now that the test is conducted, she can fully trust Chumo, especially since he is the reason so many people at the base were saved. Because of this, she offers him a spot on the special team of the Changfeng base guard. Chumo explains that they need to return to their own base this afternoon. Chen Yuan interjects, explaining that their secret treasure needs to be back at the Luoyang base today, otherwise it will become useless. If not for that, they would gladly stay and help. Understanding that the treasure must be delivered to an insider and recognizing the gravity of the situation, the Grandmaster decides to let them go. However, she offers an alternative. She invites our dude to become an external defense expert. This way, he doesn't need to stay at the base and only needs to come to their aid in life and death situations. In return, he will be funded 500,000 yuan per year. Our guy gladly tells her that even without the position, he will be fine with helping them anytime since both bases are on friendly terms. After all, if the Changfeng base falls, it will endanger the Luoyang base as well. With everything settled, the Luoyang party leaves at their destined time. Seeing them off, the Grandmaster praises how well the Jade House Merchant Alliance secured such a talented boy for themselves. Sun agrees, noting that they always pay close attention to maintaining relationships with all parties, which is just an important part of doing business. Then her expression turns serious as they prepare to talk about real business. After their long journey ends, the team finally arrives at the west face of the Luoyang base, where Mo Shanshan is already waiting for them. Xian steps forward and hands over the secured treasure to her. Taking the item, she informs the group that their official rewards will be processed through Qian, who will distribute them later. For now, she grants them premium healing elixirs and free access to the Alliance's medical center so they can rest up. The team is incredibly pleased with her generosity, eagerly asking her to call them up for their next mission. As the group prepares to depart, Mo Shanshan stops Chumo and gestures for him to join her. Later, inside the quiet comfort of her car, she praises him for taking down a creature as elusive as the blank weasel, noting that the feat proves he is significantly stronger than she initially calculated. Our boy tries to brush off the heavy praise, but she steers the conversation toward a serious matter directly related to the treasure he just escorted. She reveals that the item is actually the key to a highly coveted secret realm, the Wanhua Plate. Meanwhile, The exact same treasure is the subject of a tense discussion over at the Changfeng base, where Lao Sun is currently under intense investigation by a Sharp the Grandmaster. Sun firmly declares that he has absolutely no idea what the Wanhua plate even is. He aggressively defends himself, stating that as far as he knows, the treasure was simply a time-sensitive cultivation elixir. Because the medicine had a strict expiration limit, his team had to rush the delivery process, which he insists has absolutely nothing to do with any secret realm key. The interrogator tells him she isn't going to eat him alive, but notes that the Jade House forces are incredibly sharp. Through their own independent investigations, the Changfeng higher-ups know that the sudden, abnormal surge of ferocious beasts around their base is being caused by massive energy fluctuations, specifically, the friction from the connecting point where the Wanhua secret realm overlaps with the present world. Knowing that a profit-driven woman like Mo Shanshan wouldn't move a finger without a massive return, they naturally suspect Sun helped her smuggle the key. Sun visibly trembles under the pressure but sticks to his story, flatly denying the claim anyway. Seeing his resistance, the woman changes her tactics. She proposes a deal. If Sun allows her to send 2 of her own operatives into the secret realm alongside his people, regardless of whether they make it out alive, she will slash the Jade House's local business tax down to a mere 5%. This massive financial incentive instantly catches Sun's interest. Unbeknownst to either of them, their highly classified meeting is being monitored from the shadows by a mysterious figure wearing a distinct, affiliated emblem on their clothes. 3 days later, back at his own house, our boy is relentlessly practicing his blood and chi refining stages. Testing his progress, he deliberately cuts his index finger, channels his inner energy, and flicks a single drop of condensed blood straight at the reinforced wall. The droplet flies with such terrifying velocity that it punches a clean, solid hole straight through the structure, acting exactly like a high-caliber bullet. The result proves that his blood has successfully refined into a mercury-like state, incredibly dense, heavy, and completely unbreakable. This rapid transformation is all thanks to the premium blood refining pills Mo Shanshan provided, which allowed him to reach this advanced state in just 3 days, a feat that even Elixir of Rhinoceros could never replicate. He pauses his training, recalling the critical information the young mistress shared with him during their car ride. She warned him that the secret realm will officially manifest in exactly 1 month, and the Wanhua plate is the absolute key required to unlock its hidden spatial passage. Crucially, the unique laws governing the realm of 10,000 wonders mean it can only accommodate cultivators who sit safely below the martial arts master level. Remembering his current status, our boy knows that his current realm makes him the perfect fit for the upcoming expedition, because on paper he only registers as a mid-stage martial artist, yet his actual combat power is completely off the charts. That is exactly why Mo Shanshan invited him to join her personal expedition team. Her primary objective inside the Hidden Pocket world is to locate the legendary Zhuanyuan Chalcedony, and she explicitly promised that the Jade House will not compete with him for any other treasures he uncovers along the way. Our boy knows this is an incredible deal, but he still decides to push his training even harder. He needs to rush his cultivation and break into the late-stage martial artist realm before the portal opens, knowing that staying alive in a lawless secret realm requires maximum strength. As he prepares to train, something catches his eye. He notices the corner of a hidden box peeking through the very hole he just blasted into the wall with his blood bullet. Curious, he reaches into the brickwork and pulls the dusty container out, wondering why such a thing is hidden inside his own home. He pops the latch open, finding a stack of old, faded letters, a few books, and miscellaneous family keepsakes. But what immediately locks his attention is a highly unusual, strangely crafted badge resting right at the bottom of the pile. After coming to this world, he gets all the memories of the original Chumo, but he does not remember this box or the chest of arms. He also finds a diary. Opening it, he finds out that it is written by the mother of the original Chumo. She expresses her frustration at being stuck at some fundamental level of the martial arts realm for no reason. There is someone she refers to as him in the diary. He alerts her to the appearance of a more powerful beast, which makes her believe that they will all die. She is also working on some research that is not going well, especially regarding the shortage of level 5 ferocious beast. They even intend to check for a level 6 or 7 beast. She is doing this because Chumo does not show any cultivation talent, so she wants his physique to get changed. When she hears the rumor of a level 7 ferocious beast, she pursues it in order to help him awaken his power. Checking the things in the box, he wonders about her research, especially since finding a level 7 ferocious beast is just a myth. Then he checks a dagger. It is so light and cold, proving that it is no ordinary weapon, so he decides to let the appraiser at the Jade House appraise it the next time he visits. 10 days later, Mo Shanshan and the others are waiting for our boy at the departure point for the mission. The 2 grandmasters from the Changfeng base are also there. The girl is Susanna, and the boy is Liao Yu. The girl is curious to see the power of our boy, who is held in such high regard by their captain as well as Lady Mo. Meanwhile, the boy believes that Chumo certainly possesses good power. Then our boy arrives, and everyone feels the distinct powerful aura coming from him. Both of the Grandmasters can see that he is not someone to be underestimated. Even as he gets near to Mo Shanshan, she immediately comments that he has advanced his realm again. Without wasting time, he shows her the dagger he wants her to appraise for him. She immediately informs him that this dagger is made by fusing the bones of the two level 4 beasts, the ice crystal bird, and it is very light. This weapon is usually used as secret weapon because of how light it is, making no sound and possessing a hidden effect. Seeing the weapon, the female Grandmaster is burning to test the skills of Chu Mo. However, her companion reminds her not to put the cart before the horse, as their purpose is to get as much treasure from the secret realm as possible. At that moment, our hero senses an energy fluctuation as the entrance is about to appear. Mo Shanshan announces that the time has come to enter the realm. She reminds everyone that the secret realm may result in random teleportation, and everyone's position will be different at first. Therefore, she will send a signal from her position for everyone to move towards her. She opens the box, and the key floats in the air in order to open the entrance. They immediately rush towards it. Actually, secret realms are small worlds that are connected but hidden to the Blue Star planet, occasionally appearing since the great change of heaven and earth. Some of these secret realms are rich in resources, with mountains, water, life, and even ferocious beasts alongside a variety of heavenly treasures, while others are very barren with not a single blade of grass. The case of the Wanhua is a realm rich with materials confirmed by martial artists. As soon as he enters the realm, his head hurts because of the unstable teleportation. Then, he decides to check his surroundings using space perception. At that moment, he does not find any danger nearby. However, his perception tells him there is a 500-year-old colorful orchid and a 300-year-old grass. Moreover, there are many precious spiritual herbs within a radius of 50 meters, and the concentration of vitality and energy here is extraordinary. With this strong vitality, he guesses that the beasts here will be on another level. The next moment, he spots the flare signal. This means everyone is gathering, so he heads there as well. Meanwhile, everyone else is surrounded by numbers of ferocious beasts. Mo Shanshan and her team are fighting them, and she cautions them to be on their guard. Though they are only level 2 beasts, they outnumber them. Everyone is working against them. One of the guards is bitten by one of the beasts while the others turn to fight them off, but they are too many, overwhelming them. Mo Shanshan asks them to have patience, as once all of them gather, they will be saved. Suddenly, one of the beasts is about to strike her from behind, but she is saved by our hero. She cautions him that the beasts have them outnumbered. He assures her back that no matter the number, they are still just level 2 creatures, which he can easily deal with. He raises his sword, and using his sword power, a red blade light flashes from his weapon, killing the beasts. Meanwhile, somewhere else, a mighty ferocious beast perches on a peak, looking at the lower level beasts on the ground. It has sensed someone entering the realm, which means that the key is back. Our hero wipes out the surrounding beasts, but strangely, he also feels the energy of the entire realm fluctuate slightly. Thanks to his space perception talent, he can sense that the spatial fabric of this secret realm is highly unstable. At that moment, everyone cheers for him and celebrates his incredible feat, and even Mo Shanshan steps forward to thank him for the rescue. He asks her if the entire group has successfully assembled. She explains that everyone has made it to the rally point except for the 2 Grandmasters from the Changfeng base. He then asks whether those 2 Grandmasters are also targeting their specific prize. She reassures him that the Changfeng duo is only here to gather basic resources due to the severe shortages back at their own base, so they will not interfere with their core operation. However, fully understanding the sudden spike in danger throughout the realm, Mo Shanshan decides to cut their resource gathering short. She wants to head straight toward the Zhuanyuan Chalcedony they came for. To make up for the lost exploration time, she even offers him half of the Chalcedony as compensation. Our boy, however, has a different plan. He senses that something far worse than the typical dangers of a secret realm is lurking in the shadows. He suggests that they need to leave as soon as possible, bluntly asking her if the Zhuanyuan Chalcedony is truly important enough to justify the risk. She smiles softly, pointing out that he has never actually asked what the treasure does until now. He explains his philosophy. If a treasure is too precious, it is better for him not to know about it so he won't get greedy. But right now, the situation is dire, and they need to evaluate whether this prize is worth risking everyone's lives. Mo Shanshan takes a breath and explains its true value. She reveals that it is a legendary, top-tier heavenly treasure capable of allowing a martial artist to break through their conceptual realm limits, granting them a staggeringly stronger foundation. For example, a martial artist with a baseline of 200,000 jin of physical strength can use the treasure to force a breakthrough at 300,000 or even 400,000 jin instead. In short, it fundamentally raises a cultivator's ultimate growth ceiling. She asks him if he thinks it's worth it now. Our dude instantly admits that it absolutely is. His mind is already spinning with the possibilities. Since he possesses the hoarding system, the stronger his baseline strength is, the more terrifying his elemental multipliers and amplification talents will become. He immediately urges the group to find the target without any further delay. Mo Shanshan pulls out the Wanhua plate, using its guidance to track the primary earth vein of the realm, which provides the perfect environment for the growth of the Zhuanyuan chalcedony. Meanwhile, deep in the mountains, the mighty beast also senses the active presence of the key. It growls a command, ordering its countless minions to find the intruders and bring the plate directly to its lair. A while later, the team arrives at a dense valley, guided entirely by the glowing Wanhua plate. Suddenly, a fast-moving shadow ambushes one of the guards, forcing the group to rapidly form a defensive circle. Inspecting the deep lacerations on the bleeding guard, Mo Shanshan warns everyone that the attacking creature is venomous, and they must maintain total caution. Suddenly, one of the beasts lunges straight at Chu Mo. He counters instantly with a swift sword strike, but to his surprise, when his blade fails to pierce the creature's thick fur, even though his weapon can easily slice through solid gold. In the light, the team finally recognizes the monsters as golden-winged poisonous foxes. They are known to be dangerous level 2 beasts, but because they are naturally solitary hunters, nobody can understand why they are suddenly packing together to launch a coordinated assault. The foxes attack again, forcing the guards to fight desperately, focusing entirely on avoiding the lethal venomous claws since their own weapons can't cut through the monster's hides. Mo Shanshan also notices that even though these foxes share the same level 2 rank as the previous beasts, their raw speed and physical strength are vastly superior. Suddenly, our boy's sharp ears catch a strange, rhythmic frequency in the air, sounding exactly like a set of complex strategic instructions. Before he can warn the others, a shadow bursts from the brush, aiming straight for the Wanhua plate. With the distraction provided by the fox pack, a golden-winged poisonous raccoon successfully scoops up the artifact and takes to the air to fly away. Thinking fast, our boy arches his body and unleashes a precise, powerful strike that forces the raccoon to drop the plate. Mo Shanshan dives to catch it safely, but she frantically warns Chu Mo that the beasts are clearly targeting the plate itself and are cooperating just to steal it. Our boy already notices the strange behavior, concluding that something is actively guiding their movements. He guesses that there must be an intelligent, high-level ferocious beast pulling the strings from the shadows, as monsters above level 5 typically awaken human-like spiritual intelligence. Activating his space perception talent, he scans the surrounding terrain and immediately locks onto his hidden target. Without a second thought, he triggers his space transfer talent, vanishing into thin air and materializing directly in front of that superior monster. Chu Mo immediately attacks it, but without flinching, the beast blocks the strike with its hand, which feels like a human-like characteristic to our boy. Even when the beast pushes him away, he leaps into the air and lands a little far away from it. Analyzing the situation, Chu Mo realizes that though the beast should be level 5 because of its human-like intelligence and characteristics, its attack power is only at level 3. So he rushes right after it, but the beast tries to escape him. Our boy appears right before it using his space transfer. He attacks it again, and when the beast falls to the ground, he comes right up to it and uses all of his sword power in order to pierce its body in a single blow. He is still confused because the physical strength of the beast is also at level 5. At that moment, Mo Shanshan arrives while searching for him. She is glad to see him, expressing her relief that he is here because these ferocious beasts are just too strange. He admits this is definitely the case since they show such contradictory characteristics. So, he decides he is going to check the status of its internal energy next. But before he can touch the beast, he senses a lethal killing aura locking onto him from behind. At the very last moment, he steps away to dodge the surprise attack. The attacker is wearing a Jade House uniform, but their raw strength sits comfortably at the peak of the martial artist realm, looking like they are right on the verge of breaking through into a true martial arts master. Both of them clash blades for a hot minute, and the exchange makes our boy realize that this person is desperately after the corpse of the beast, meaning there must be some deep secret hidden inside it. The enemy lunges to attack again, but our hero stops the strike dead in its tracks with his own sword. The sheer power behind our boy's blade completely overwhelms the enemy's weapon. The rival blade doesn't just crack, but Chu Mo actually manages to slice right across the guy's face. The intruder steps back, openly admitting that he almost died just now. The wounded man is actually wearing a disguise over the face of the actual Jade House member. While his energy aura still registers as human, his physical characteristics look freakishly similar to the intelligent beast. Right as the enemy tries to snatch the beast's corpse, Mo Shanshan rushes in and attacks him. The intruder dodges her move and immediately tries to make a run for it. Mo Shanshan yells at our boy not to let them get away, confirming that these people are definitely imposters. However, two more intruders suddenly burst into the clearing to rescue their companion, firing a volley of arrows to force our hero back. Grabbing their injured comrade, the enemy quickly flees the scene. Looking at the spot where they vanished, Mo Shanshan guesses they must have used a premium space item to instantly teleport somewhere else. Staring at the beast's corpse, Chumo wonders why a group of high-level intruders would go through so much trouble over a dead monster, becoming more convinced that a major secret is at play. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the realm, both grandmasters from the Changfeng base are busy gathering valuable spirit grass and rare resources. Susanna mentions that she finds it incredibly strange that they haven't encountered many ferocious beasts along their path. Her companion, Liao Yu, just thinks it's a blessing since it means they can complete their resource mission without a fight. But suddenly Susanna senses a dangerous presence nearby. She quickly drags her comrade down to hide behind the thick bushes. From their hiding spot, they spot a group of people dressed in Jade House uniforms. The hidden figures are grumbling to themselves, muttering about how they didn't expect Mo Shanshan and our boy to be so ridiculously strong. They complain that they failed to secure the beast's body and came dangerously close to blowing their entire cover. Right then, the leader of the group pulls off his mask, and Susanna's eyes widen in absolute shock. She recognizes him instantly. The man is none other than Ni Yu from Grandmaster Ye Hua's elite escort team. Grandmaster Ye Hua's team is originally supposed to be working with their master to investigate the strange structural movements of the realm. Meanwhile, the disguised intruders continue discussing their real plan. It turns out they are basically here to spy on Mo Shanshan and figure out exactly what treasure she is hunting, figuring it has to be something insanely precious. However, the leader seems completely distracted. He is still obsessed with getting his hands on the corpse of that intelligent beast, believing the creature's biological traits hold a much higher worth to their mysterious higher-ups than whatever treasure Mo Shanshan is looking for. Meanwhile, Mo Shanshan completes her inspection of the dead beast and concludes that while its raw energy level is indeed only at level 2, its evolutionary characteristics have somehow reached level 5. Chumo guesses that since only martial artists below the rank of martial arts master can enter this world, maybe the local beasts are also forced to restrict their power levels to level 2, due to the strict boundary laws of the secret realm. Mo Shanshan find this hard to believe, noting that ferocious beasts inside secret realms are usually nurtured directly by the world's raw vital energy, so she doesn't think the environment would actively suppress its own creatures. Since they can't figure out the exact reason, our boy urges the team to move out and search for their actual treasure as soon as possible. They step ahead and soon discover a hidden cave where the Wanhua plate points directly inside. Mo Shanshan orders her remaining guards to stay outside and secure the perimeter, while she and Chumo venture into the tunnels. Walking inside, he notices that unlike a typical cave, there aren't any pesky bats or creepy vermin nesting around. Instead, the local vital energy flows through the air like a thick stream of water, pulling them deeper into the depths. Chumo wonders if the ultimate destination of this dense energy flow is their target prize. Deep inside the cavern, they finally lay eyes on the legendary Zhuanyuan chalcedony. Counting them up, there are a total of 10 drops available. As per their original cooperation deal, 5 of those drops are immediately handed over to Chumo, which he gladly accepts. These miraculous substances are more than enough to elevate his raw physical body strength to at least a staggering 100,000 jin. However, our boy points out that the dense, swirling energy in this cave isn't actually gathering around the Zhuanyuan chalcedony. Mo Shanshan is completely taken aback to hear this. By all accounts, the chalcedony should have grown at the absolute hub of the earth veins where the world's vital energy naturally pools. Confused by his observation, she then concentrates, extending her senses. After analyzing the core energy, she admits he is right. Only a tiny fraction of the energy surrounds the chalcedony, while the vast majority is flowing past it toward another hidden point deep in the rock. Chumo raises his hand and touches the precise wall where the energy is gathering. Just like the legendary 10,000-year spiritual essence he encountered before, this spot is heavily sealed by a powerful natural barrier. Mo Shanshan agrees that they have to break through and check it out, knowing that a massive treasure must be hidden inside. Working together, both of them step straight through the barrier. The moment they cross the threshold, an immense, suffocating pressure slams down on them, threatening to crush their lungs. Bracing themselves against the gravity-like force, they look up and spot a miniature violent tornado swirling directly around a glowing rock, the Boundary Origin Stone. This stone is a legendary spiritual treasure that contains the pure, raw origin laws of the secret realm, allowing a human body to perfectly comprehend and master space changes. Because of its nature, the stone actively resonates with Chumo's hidden space talent. Struggling against the heavy pressure, Mo Shanshan turns to him and asks about the exact grade of his spatial affinity. When he confirms his space talent sits comfortably at level 2, her jaw drops. Spatial talent is widely considered the absolute top-tier, rarest affinity in the world, and possessing it grants our hero a deadly dual-skill synergy of both conversion and space perception. Mo Shanshan is incredibly glad she recruited him as a consultant, realizing his true potential is completely limitless. She points toward the raging vortex, explaining that the protective hurricane gets exponentially stronger the closer a person gets to the center. There is absolutely no physical way to reach the prize. unless Chumo uses his spatial manipulation to bypass the wind entirely. She then admits that this legendary treasure clearly belongs to our boy. The stone is entirely useless to anyone without a spatial affinity, an element that has less than a 1% chance of appearing in cultivators after absorbing the stone. But for our boy, who already possesses the trait, the stone will boost his spatial comprehension by a staggering 100%. Besides, she already promised that every treasure outside of the Chalcedony belongs to him. Nodding, Chumo steps forward and activates his space transfer, tearing open a localized spatial portal directly next to the artifact. He reaches through the rift and grabs the stone. The absolute second his fingers lock around the smooth rock, his eyes widen in shock as a sudden vivid vision flashes through his mind. He sees the intelligent, humanoid, ferocious beast surrounded by its minions. When he snaps out of the vision and steps back to Mo Shanshan's side, she warmly congratulates him on securing the ultimate prize. But his expression remains dead serious. He explains that after grabbing the origin stone, he now fully understands the terrifying secrets of this realm. The intelligent, ferocious beasts are intentionally forcing rapid advancements by forcefully absorbing massive amounts of the world's vital energy. This reckless draining is what caused the unstable energy fluctuations and the structural cracks throughout the fabric of the secret realm. He drops a massive bombshell. The secret realm is on the verge of total collapse. The suppressed level 2 monsters aren't naturally that weak. They are only being restricted by the realm's boundary laws. The moment the dimension shatters, those creatures will instantly regain their true, terrifying level 5 power. Realizing the clock is ticking, Chumo suggests they immediately consume and absorb the Zhuanyuan Chalcedony and the boundary origin stone right here in the cave, maximizing their physical and spatial strength to stand a fighting chance against the impending disaster. So, the plan is locked in. They will cultivate and absorb these high-tier treasures right here inside the cave, using the natural barrier as a perfect shield to guarantee they won't be disturbed. Both of them know a grueling, high-stakes battle awaits them on the outside, making it absolutely vital to push past their current bottlenecks before stepping back into the open. Cultivation is typically a highly vulnerable process that requires absolute solitude, so doing it directly in front of another person demands an immense amount of mutual trust. Our boy feels a bit flustered just thinking about how absurd the request might seem to a high-status director, but Mo Shanshan openly expresses her unwavering trust in him. With the mutual understanding settled, both of them sit cross-legged and begin their respective refinement cycles. During the process, Chumo calls upon his internal system to calculate his updated combat data. Looking over the glowing results, his jaw nearly drops. Not only has his physical strength completely shattered its previous limits, but his baseline physical power now sits at a mind-blowing 500,000 jin. At this staggering rate, even standard late-stage martial artists won't stand a ghost of a chance against him in a pure contest of brawn. Seeing that Mo Shanshan is still deep in her own meditation, he decides to seize the downtime to fuse with the boundary origin stone and see what happens. Holding the rock, he is initially unsure of how to initiate the absorption process, so he tries activating his raw internal energy to envelop it. Suddenly, a blinding, razor-sharp light erupts from the stone. For a surreal moment, his consciousness is pulled from his body, and he finds himself floating within a vast, cosmic galaxy. The pure white energy of the stone melts into a stream of starlight, absorbing itself entirely into his soul. When he opens his eyes, he is back in the cave, wondering what just happened as the residual starlight fully merges into his core. He looks down at his hands only to see the origin stone crumble and shatter, its energy completely spent. Checking his upgraded status, he realizes his space perception radius has doubled to 100 meters, and his space transfer now allows him to teleport instantly to absolutely any point within that perception range. To top it all off, he is granted a highly coveted portable space skill, allowing him to imprint a spatial mark on his own body to open a pocket dimension. Looking at his palm, he spots the intricate new spatial imprint resting against his skin. Eager to test it, he injects a burst of spatial energy directly into the mark. A localized cube-like pocket dimension manifests around him, spanning roughly 20 meters in size. He notes that while it is just a starter size limited by his current energy capacity, it is a phenomenal beginning, and he hopes to expand the storage volume and improve the talent even further down the line. Right at that moment, Mo Shanshan successfully breaks through her own martial arts physical limit. Her raw physical power reaches a formidable 300,000 jin, officially clearing her path to advance into the prestigious martial arts master realm. When Chumo speaks up to congratulate her, she is visibly startled. She was so consumed by the sheer excitement of her breakthrough that she hadn't even realized he was awake and watching her. She stares at him, commenting that he suddenly gives off a deeply ethereal vibe, noting that if he hadn't spoken up, she wouldn't have even sensed his presence. Our boy reasons that it is simply because he just finished fusing with the boundary origin stone. Since the artifact carries the exact same fundamental laws as the secret realm, His personal aura now perfectly matches the surrounding environment, allowing him to naturally blend into the surrounding. Before she can ponder his strange evolution any further, a violent, rumbling explosion shakes the cavern ceilings above them. Out in the valley, the pack of ferocious beasts has launched a brutal assault on the waiting perimeter guards, with one of the monsters successfully mauling and injuring a defender. As another guard rushes over to his fallen comrade, a stealthy beast leaps from the brush to ambush them from behind. But right before the claws can connect, our dude materializes on the battlefield. Moving like a flash, he unleashes his sky-splitting blade, cleanly severing the monster's limbs in a single fluid arc. The surviving guards are utterly stunned to see him reappear so suddenly, looking exponentially more powerful than he did just hours ago. Without breaking his stride, Chumo dives straight into the fray as two massive beasts are ready to pounce on him from left and right. Utilizing his newly upgraded spatial talent, he blurs out of space. A split second later, he materializes high up on a thick tree branch, dropping down to slaughter them from above. The surrounding guards watch the effortless, one-sided slaughter with wide eyes, completely awestruck by how easily he handles the monsters, finally understanding why Mo Shanshan openly considers this teenager the undisputed strongest fighter in the entire martial artist realm. Even Mo Shanshan herself is taken aback, realizing that with every single battle, the boy somehow manages to return significantly stronger than before. Suddenly, a new beast steps into the clearing. This creature possesses vastly superior, distinct human-like physical characteristics compared to the mindless lackeys. It demands that they hand over the Wanhua plate key, declaring that their king wants it immediately.